Let the ceremony of succulence commence. The KFC Kentucky Original Wrap for $2.49. Visualize the wrap. Order the wrap. Eat the wrap. Get the deal. Believe in chicken. KFC. Until 16th of March, subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Not available on delivery. See website for full T's and C's.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. Looking to sell your Audi? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation. Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
What a game at Easter Road to kick things off in Scottish football today. I was going to say this morning. It's a bit, my timing's all over the place. It is Hibs 2, Celtic 1, the full-time score from Easter Road. Josh Campbell with a first half double. Dyson Maeda got one back for Celtic. They thought they'd equalise late on, but the ball was deemed to be out of play when Alistair Johnson cut it back, so VAR ruling that one out. Hibs get all 3 points. Celtic are defeated. We will have plenty of reaction to come from that game across the next few hours. We are here until 6 o'clock, but we've got plenty of 3 o'clock kickoffs to get our teeth into in the meantime. Let's go back to Ibrox. Rangers against St Mirren. Roger Hanna can give us a bit of a taste for things and of course a recap of the teams.
Yeah, I'll give you the teams first again, Andrew. Rangers go with Jack Butland in the goal. It's a back four: James Tavernier, Robin Propper, who's in for the injured John Souttar, along with Clinton and Ciala and Jeffrey. In the midfield, Nico Raskan and Mo Diamande, and then Václav Černý, Hamza Igaman and Yanis Hadji behind a recalled number 9 Cyril Dessers. On the bench, Kelly, Fernandez and Yilmaz, Rice, Bijrami and McCausland, Curtis, Danilo and Lawrence. St Mirren go with Zach Hemming in goal. It's a back three: Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic and Richard Taylor. Across the middle, Ryan Albiosu, Killian Phillips, Caelan Boyd Munce, Mark O'Hara and Declan John. And a front two of Jonah Ayunga and Michael Mandron. On the bench on Minsky, Tanzer, Womono, Smith, Edowu, Kelty, Kenny, Olusanya, Oseni. The ref is Kevin Clancy. The VAR is Grant Irvin. They'll be hoping for a quieter afternoon than Stephen Maclean and Alan Muir had along at Easter Road this afternoon. And Rangers will be hoping to close the gap on Celtic to 10 points. The supporters coming in here this afternoon obviously aware that Celtic have suffered that shock defeat to Hibernian in Leith, and they will look for a victory to end what could be quite a week for Rangers. It started with a win at Tynecastle on Sunday. Of course, all through the week there has been chat about this potential investment by the people behind the San Francisco 49ers, and with a draw against Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce in the last 16 of the Europa League, suddenly the narrative seems to be far more positive in these parts.
Yes, we'll have a keen eye on what's happening at Ibrox throughout the day. We do have 3 other 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Scottish Premiership. Let's go to Tannadice, shall we? Dundee United against Motherwell. Fraser Wishart is there for us.
Yeah, and all the eyes, of course, are on new Motherwell manager Michael Wimmer. The German was appointed earlier this week, and he was on the pitch early when I arrived. Deep in conversation with Andy Halliday and Lennon Miller, who play in the midfield today. Clearly wants to get involved in the action, but he's inherited a team low on confidence, got a big job. I was at last week's home defeat versus Ross County, really poor, 5th defeat in a row if you include the cup tie against St Johnstone. In fact, since they beat today's opponents 4-3 on the 14th December, they've had 1 win in 11 games and dropped to 11th, dangerously near the bottom. So Motherwell fans will be excited, been trolling internet. How does he play? All the promises of attacking play and pressing and pace. Really, they just have to, in the short term, get a win or a draw to stop the rot. But today's opponents themselves have not been on a great run of results. Dundee United 1 win in the last 5 league games, and you had a defeat in the Cup to Dundee. Only 2 goals in those 6 games, so you can see why United must see this an opportunity to get back on track. But despite those, after today's Hibs win, they sit in 5th. Maybe half an eye in Europe, but they'd have to be wary of those below them if this poor run continues. Motherwell have beaten United 3 times this season, and their fans will be hoping the cliched manager bounce will happen today. For Dundee United, Jim Goodwin's made 3 changes to the team that lost at Celtic last week. Stevenson, Middleton and Fotheringham drop out. In comes Strain, Ferry and Payton. They've changed to a 3-5-2 formation. Jack Walton's in goals, Emmanuel Adebayoga, Declan Gallagher and Ross Graham at the back. Ryan Strain, Alan Campbell, Ross Docherty, Vico Sevelier and Will Ferry across the middle, with Rudy Payton and Sam Dolby as the strikers. David Richards, Christian Trapanowski, Lewis Fiorini, David Babunski, Glenn Middleton, Lucas Stevenson, Kai Fotheringham, Jort van der Sande and Sam Cleel Harding are on the bench. And the first selection by Michael Wimmer, he's made 4 changes. Balmer, Thompson and Slattery dropped to the bench. Of course, Tony Watt started last week. He can't play against his parent team. In comes John Kutrumbis for his since signing last summer, Casey, Wilson and Maswanisi, and he's stuck by the dreaded 3-5-2 formation. Motherwell fans much critical of Stuart Kettle for playing that way, but it's 3-5-2. Ellery Balcom in goal, Stephen O'Donnell, Liam Gordon and Dan Casey across the back, Johnny Kutrumbis, Tom Sparrow, Andy Halliday, Lennon Miller and Ewan Wilson in the midfield, with Tawanda, Maswanisi and Luke Armstrong as the strikers. Callum Ward, Kofi Balmer, Davor Dravkovsky, Callum Slattery, Harry Payton, Moses Ibiye, Kai Andrews, Dominic Thompson and Luke Plange are on the bench, and the referee today is Chris Graham and VAR is John Beaton.
I think there will be an air of excitement, Ross, from Motherwell fans just to see exactly what Michael Wimmer has managed to do in the past week or so and what he's able to implement in a short few days.
Yeah, and I think they should be excited. I can only think back to when I was at Fulham and I worked under Felix Magath. He brought in a completely new style of play, a high press, get after people, and also similar, I think Matt McGee, when we were at Motherwell, he learned a lot off of Felix Magath. So his way of playing was a kind of a sort of German imposed play as well. So I think they should be excited. Listen, has he had enough time to implement what he wants to do going forward this week? Probably not, but he'll be hoping to see a couple of little signs within the game that the lads are taking it on board.
Was Felix Magath also the manager that used to rub cheese on injuries? Was that him?
He done some worse things than that. He had us running up a hill that was about 3/4 of a metre long, so steep, with 2 10kg medicine balls under our arms. He was absolutely bizarre, him.
I think we should maybe get some more Felix Magath stories while the games are on later on. Let's go to Pittodrie, Aberdeen against Kilmarnock. Dave Galloway.
After finally ending their record-breaking winless league run and incredibly regaining third place, the big question is, Andrew, can Aberdeen build on this and stay where they are in the table? The fight to finish third is a very close one indeed right now, with Hibs and Dundee United breathing down their necks. Kilmarnock come here in good form over the last 10 matches. Only Celtic, Hibs and Rangers have picked up more points, and Killie go into this one having won back-to-back league games. Last time these two sides met, Derek McInnes's men handed out a Boxing Day battering, hammering Jimmy Tillene's Dons 4-0. You can expect a hard-fought contest here in the sunshine. Let's take a look at the teams then, and just the one change for Aberdeen. Mitov is back. Dimitar Mitov is back in goals. Ross Doohan drops to the bench. So it's Dimitar Mitov, then a back four of Alexander Jensen, Christers Tobers, Matt Canuster and Jack McKenzie. The sitting midfielders for the Dons, Antti Paliversa and Sivert Heltner Nielsen. Then they have Topi Keskinen, Papi Gay and Jeppe Ockels, with Kevin Nisbet leading the attack. Aberdeen subs today: Doohan, Devlin, Shinnie, Clarkson, Dabag, Morris, Dorrington, Boyd and Ambrose. Just the one change for Kilmarnock as well. In comes Donnelly, out drops McGuinness, and it looks like they might just change to a 4-4-2 today. Kieran O'Hara in goals. A back four of Brad Lyons, Joe Wright, Lewis Mayo and Robbie Dees. Midfield: Fraser Murray, Liam Donnelly, Liam Polworth and Corey Ndaba. Up front, Marley Watkins and Bobby Wales. The Killie subs this afternoon: McCrory, Wilson Brown, McKenzie, Kennedy, Armstrong, Watson, Cameron, Anderson and Ramsey. Match referee here at Pittodrie is Matthew McDermott, and the man on VAR, Don Robertson.
And last but not least, not a bad day. Blue skies for a drive up to the Highlands for David Friel, Ross County against Dundee.
A beautiful day, Andrew. Well, the day is up here. A huge game for both clubs in the battle to stay up, but it does feel like the pressure has grown on Dundee, and no wonder. Tony Docherty's side started the day in 11th place. They're in that dreaded playoff spot, 2 points below Ross County and 6 above St Johnstone, but they've just one league win since the turn of the year and are shipping goals at an alarming rate. Andrew, in really bad form. They've lost the county twice this season, and another defeat here would put them in a really bad place. Tony Docherty, to be fair, is staying calm. He thinks it will turn, but his side's dismal defensive record really needs to improve. As I said, they've conceded 55 goals in 26 Premiership games. It's the worst record in the league. They've only kept one clean sheet all season. The day always pose a threat with the likes of Simon Murray and Lyle Cameron, but I think County are going to fancy this. However, Don Cowie's side are a hard team to read as well. They've won 4 of their last 5 away from home after going over a year without one away from home, but they haven't actually won here at home in Dingwall for 4 months now. It was back in November. when they last won here, so they need to go and end that run today, and I think this is a huge chance for them to open up a gap on the teams below them. And if results go their way elsewhere, they could even end up in the top 6 later on today with a win. So we'll see what happens. County beat Motherwell 3-0 last weekend. No surprise to stick with the same team. Jordan Amisa in goals, back 3 of Jonathan Tompkinson, Casper Lapata and Eli Campbell, Akil Wright, Noah Kenny, Conor Randall and George Harmon across the middle, with Noah Chilvers in behind Ronan Hale and Kieran Phillips. Subs for County are Laidlaw, Brown, Allardyce, Greaves, Nisbet, White, Smith, McLeod and Robertson. As for Dundee, they lost to Aberdeen last weekend. They've made 3 changes. Ryan Astley, Finn Robertson and Seb Palmer-Holden are in. Aaron Donnelly, Mo Silla and Scott Tiffany are out. Joe McCracken continues in goals, back 3 of Ryan Astley, Antonio Portales and Clark Robertson, Josh Mulligan, Jordan McGee, Finn Robertson and Ziad Larkesh across the middle, with Lyle Cameron in behind Simon Murray and Palmer Holden. Subs for Dundee are Carson, Ingram, Shaughnessy, Tiffany, Adamumi, Samuels, Garza, Silla and Donnelly. Referees Matthew McDermott, and the VAR is Greg Aitken.
We were just looking at the league table there after Hibs getting 3 points between St Mirren in 6th and Dundee down in 11th, just 4 points separating the team. So all of these games are going to be crucial today.
As David said there, Ross County can go up into the top 6, for goodness sake. I mean, the league makes no sense at all. It suggests that standards really are dropping, but you can't see St Mirren getting anything. Ibrox, Kilmarnock up against it at Pittodrie. Motherwell, I don't think will get anything at Tannadice, so the whole complexion of the league table could change overnight.
It's going to be hard to keep track of, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the guys are right. You just look at how strange a league is. Ross County, as the guys were saying, if the results go, they could be in the top 6. Incredible. And yet you're looking at them just now thinking, they're in a relegation battle. But it goes back to last week. Aberdeen, first win in 15, all of a sudden into 3rd. So look, this will be right to the end of the season, because I think you take Celtic and Rangers out of the equation, I think all the other teams, they can go on a little bit of a mini run and then they can lose a few, draw. It's just who's the most consistent, they can get the points at the right time to just keep their head above that water.
We've talked about how tight it is, but you also look at just what the Hibs result has done for Aberdeen, Hibs, Dundee United. There is now that clear gap at the moment. It may well be completely different come the end of today, just depending on how results go. But Dundee United and Hibs now, in 4th and 5th, now being 6 points ahead of St Mirren in 6th. It maybe looks as if that's starting to separate a wee bit, although you can never really tell, because Aberdeen have obviously been on a bad run of form. Dundee United have lost 6 of the last 7 in all competitions. So
Aberdeen and Dundee United in recent weeks have been appalling. Dundee United have lost 5 of their last 6 games. 5, and they're in 4th place. So it's a very strange league, and it does not reflect well on the league, because if you can be in 4th place having lost 5 of your last 6 games, those underneath you should be having a right good look at themselves.
I think Derek McInnes summed it up pretty well during the week, that he was looking at how tight the league table was, but then was looking at teams running form and basically said, who's winning all the games? Where is this coming from? But we will see today who the winners are and who the losers are of the 3 o'clock kickoffs. We'll of course go back to Ibrox next.
Take my money. Let the ceremony of succulence commence. The KFC Kentucky Original Wrap for $2.49. Visualize the wrap. Order the wrap. Eat the wrap. Get the deal? Believe in chicken. KFC.
Until 16th of March, subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Not available on delivery. See website for full T's and C's.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
We've already had one big result in the Scottish Premiership today. Hibs 2, Celtic 1 at Easter Road. We will get all the reaction from the phone lines from 5 o'clock, but of course from Brendan Rodgers and David Gray very shortly. But we do have 3 o'clock kickoffs. One of those is at Ibrox. Roger Hanna is there for Rangers against St Mirren. Is there a particular American feel about the place today?
No, not really, Andrew, I have to admit, but Rangers are back at Ibrox 13 days after that Queen's Park defeat, arguably the worst home loss in 150 years. On that day, Philip Clement's job looked in jeopardy. Since then, they've gone and beaten Hearts 3-1 at Tynecastle last Sunday. Patrick Stewart, the chief exec, gave the manager a vote of confidence on Wednesday, and then later in the day Details first emerge of the San Francisco 49ers interest in a potential takeover. Former chairman Dave King keen to sell. Others are expected to follow, and a deal could even be concluded before the end of this season. Then yesterday, Rangers paired with Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce in the last 16 of the Europa League. It might be Roma or Athletic Bilbao in a quarter-final, maybe even Man United in a semi, and Spurs in a final in Bilbao in May. That's the kind of positivity which seems to be sweeping Ibrox today. It's been fuelled, of course, by Celtic's defeat to Hibs at Easter Road at lunchtime. Rangers could cut the gap to 10 points at the top. It's hardly kick-starting a title charge, but the mood has changed dramatically here since Seb Draws sent Rangers spinning out of the Scottish Cup in their last home game here at Ibrox. I'll give you the team. Rangers 2 changes from the side that won at Tynecastle. John Strutter injured, and there's also Tom Lawrence dropping to the bench. So Jack Butland in goal. At the back, Captain James Tavernier, Robin Proper, Clinton Nsiala and Jeffrey. Midfield, Nico Raskan and Mo Diamande. Then Václav Černý, Hamza Igaman and Yanis Hadji with Cyril Dessers. The man Rangers hope can make progress in the red zone, as the 49ers say. On the bench, Kelly, Fernandez and Yilmaz, Rice, Bajrami and McCausland, Curtis, Danilo and Lawrence. St Mirren chasing a first win here since 1991. Manager Stephen Robinson celebrating 3 years at the helm today. It's Zach Hemming in goal. At the back, Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic and Richard Taylor. Midfield, Ryan Alabiosa, Killian Phillips, Caelan Boyd, Muntz, Mark O'Hara and Declan John. Up top, Jonah Ayunga and Michael Mandron. And the bench, Uminski, Tanzer, Wamono, Smith, Idowu and Kiltie, Kenny, Olasanya and Hosseini. The referee is Kevin Clancy. The VAR is Grant Irvin. We are underway at Ibrox, Andrew.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get your essential medicines and vaccines before you head off on holiday.
Will these 3 o'clock kickoffs be as dramatic and action filled as the 12:30 was? We will wait and see. Will your predictions be any better than they were for the 12:30 kickoff? We'll wait and see. Let's start with you, Hugh Keevins.
I always say to you, good predictions are ruined by bad players, and that's what happened in Edinburgh. Rangers to win comfortably, Aberdeen to beat Kilmarnock at Pittodrie, Dundee United to beat Motherwell at Tannadice, Ross County Dundee draw.
Ross?
I've gone Aberdeen to beat Kilmarnock, Rangers comfortable win against St Mirren, Ross County to beat Dundee quite comfortably, and I'm going to go with the Well getting a new manager bounced.
Oh, that's a big one. I'll go Aberdeen Kilmarnock, home win for Aberdeen. I'll go Dundee United Motherwell, home win for Dundee United. Ross County Dundee, home win for Ross County. I'm going to throw a wee spanner in the works here. I'm going to go for a draw at Ibrox.
Draw.
You're having
Ibrox.
You're having a rank bad day
from Gordon DL there. We will wait and see. What's that based on, being back at Ibrox after the Queen's Park game? Anything to do with that?
Yeah, I just think St Mirren will sit in, make it difficult for Rangers. They've got 2 guys up top that could probably cause a lot of problems. Look, guaranteed Rangers got to score in the first couple of minutes, but sometimes you just got what happened to Easter Road as well. See, yeah, I'm going for a draw. I'm sticking with it.
We have already, by the way, been sent in a photo of Mark Wilson out on the pitch, giving instructions before the game during the training session, pointing. I know he's right into this, and he's doing all the pointing tactics stuff, and he'll be in his glory. We wish him all the best. We know one thing from his past record in management: there'll be a lot of goals at Firhill.
Well, they got a wee turn last night because Morton, who were at kick-off time 5 points behind Thistle but had 2 games in hand, were convincingly beaten by a very good Falkirk side, and Scott Arfield got yet another goal. So that took a bit of the strain off Partick Thistle. They've got to win at home today against the bottom team in the Championship, and get the Graham Wilson regime off to a winning start. I did wonder for a second there, who is Graham Wilson, not realising that you were talking about Brian Graham and Mark Wilson.
Yes. I was actually sitting thinking, what is he talking about? Listen, against his old club.
Yeah.
So he's getting stick from both ends, which is good. Look, he's worked very hard. He's been in here on Thursday telling me all about the preparation. Him and Brian, they put so much effort into it. It's not nice seeing another manager losing his job. Chris was and still is a legend there as a player, but unfortunately as a manager it just didn't work out this season for him, and they go down a different path, and we'll wait and see what happens today.
You weren't having it when Roger Hanna said about Rangers being in the red zone.
Nah, but he's probably looking for a touchdown button now, isn't he, rather than a goal flash. He's willing for a touchdown.
I'm not sure that's much better from you either. This whole American thing is just going to bring out some horrible patter from all angles.
He's going to actually annoy the life out of me, this guy.
Yeah,
but as I said, the atmosphere at Ibrox will be celebratory and not condemnatory, because Celtic have dropped 3 points, and they've got Aberdeen midweek. Rangers go to Kilmarnock, but tonight I give you my guarantee there'll be people here phoning in to say the league race is back on.
Speaking of celebratory, we've got an early goal in one of our 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ross County 0, Dundee 1, and it's the former Ross County man Simon Murray. A really nice goal as well, curled into the far corner. A great start for Tony Docherty's men up in the Highlands.
Well, I like Simon Murray a lot. He's an honest to goodness grafter. He might not be the most cultured footballer you've ever come across, but
I tell you what, David Friel says this goal is a cracker though.
Well, good luck to him. But this wacky league, it's an as things stand day. As things stand, a Dundee win would take them above Ross County and Hearts in this crazy table.
We didn't even get time to do this, Hugh, before the first goal went in.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Now, Rangers are potentially about to be taken over by the 49ers, and they, of course, own Leeds United. So with that in mind, since 2013, 7 players have played for Leeds United and also played for Rangers. Can you name them? Since 2013, hold on a second, right, that's one. Since 2013, 7 players have played for Leeds United and have also played for Rangers. Who are they?
How can you say you're not one?
Well,
you're in the answer.
It can't be, because I left Rangers in 2009 or something.
That is a good point. We will need to clarify the exact wording of that. I don't know whether it is.
When were you at Ellen Road?
I mean, we've already given away one of the answers. That's fine, but we do need. We'll maybe need some clarification on the wording, because Ross McCormack, of course, did not play for Rangers since 2013, but did play for one of the clubs. So, do they have to have played for Leeds since 2013, or we will find out and get back to you?
I feel
have played for Leeds since 2013, so they have to have played for Rangers and had to have played for Leeds since 2013. So we'll give you that one as a freebie. Ross McCormack is an answer. And you have how many more to get, Hugh? 6 more to get. Remember, you can see that written down at Clyde SSB, and it's a race to get on the podium at the end of the first half. Remember, get them all.
I should get them really quickly.
Written down in one tweet, and you'll be up against Ross McCormack, who will be scribbling them down and showing them to Hugh Keevins, but keeping silent so they don't give any other answers away after Gordon Dale blurted out one of them
everybody's
instantly.
got to get that, isn't they? Oh, we've got another one here. Let me see.
Not too much action happening elsewhere. I think it was actually an alright start for Ross County at Dingwall for the first 3 minutes before they went behind. We've got a goal in League One. Cove Rangers 0, Dumbarton 1. Carlo Pignatello scored for them, so they have a lead up north.
Well, it's a tense afternoon. I had the Ross County Dundee down for a draw, so although Simon Murray's put Dundee in front, long way to go in that one. But
chance for St Mirren. It was an error from Jack Butland that led to him having to make a really good double save, so he's made up for his own mistake. But early pressure from St Mirren, and it was all Rangers' own doing. Kicked the ball straight to a St Mirren striker.
If Philippe Clement lost that match following Celtic's defeat against Hibs, he would be as well going out into Edmiston Drive, putting his hand up and see if he can get a taxi to stop, and then leaving the country, because the whole question of his future would simply have been answered.
St Mirren do have a corner. The first save blocked, the rebound saved, and then out for a corner kick to St Mirren. So Rangers did have a corner of their own. Before that, nothing came of it, and now St Mirren with a chance of their own from a set piece between Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. Both teams have been trying to make things happen so far. The closest, Liam Polworth with a shot from outside the box that was easily saved though.
Well, as I say, Philippe Clement can't possibly not get all 3 points and theoretically re-establish a championship race, because that's
but he wouldn't lose his job here.
No, he won't lose his job, because Rangers are intent on letting him go no matter what happens. But it would be calamitous if after the home defeat from Queen's Park, the first game back at Ibrox, if he were to lose that to a very ordinary St Mirren team, it would be a calamity for him.
Well, it almost was a calamity for Jack Butland, but he got himself out of trouble. Just on that teaser, remember, at Clyde SSB, you can see it written down and get your tweets in as quickly as possible. All names in the one tweet. Rangers looking shaky at the back. Jeffrey giving the ball away this time. St Mirren really looking the more dangerous side early on.
Well, again, I don't understand the game. I mean, the Rangers players should have been out of the tunnel at 100 miles per hour. Celtic have lost. You're playing a team who really and truly should get nothing at Ibrox, and they are dominating the early play. So the crowd will be, and Roger will confirm this, the crowd will be restive.
Yeah, you would expect Rangers to, like Hugh said, especially after that encouragement of Celtic dropping points Easter Road, and the disappointment of the last home game, you'd expect them to come out the traps and really have a go at St Mirren.
Interested in the team selection from Stephen Robinson, because Toyosi Olasanya, Philippe Clement actually singled him out for praise in his pre-match press conference yesterday, saying that in transition he's such a dangerous player with the pace and the power he's got, but not starting this game, which is quite an interesting one. Jonah Ayunga and Mikael Mandron, two more maybe sort of bigger physical presences for St Mirren rather than that pace in behind that Olasanya offers.
Yeah, but I don't know, I can't help but sort of disagree with that, to be honest, because Olasanya, surely in a game like this at Ibrox, you ain't going to get many chances. You're going to be camped in. Surely pace is the number one thing that you need to get out on the break. And his strength scored a few goals as well.
Yeah, it is a surprising one. But you may just look at the overall plan, keep yourself in the game, maybe bring them on later, give them a bit of option to stretch Rangers a little bit. But the worrying thing about that is sometimes the game can be away from you by the time you decide to make that substitution. But time will tell.
Zach Hemming has had to make his first save from Václav Černý after a quick Rangers break. It was Raskin to Igaman to Černý. He has scored plenty of goals at Ibrox this season. No player in the Scottish Premiership has scored more goals at home than Václav Černý. 8 of his 10 in the league have come at Ibrox, but unable to find a way past Zach Hemming this time. The shot low and hard, but saved. Stephen Robinson saying yesterday he wanted to keep energy and pace on the bench for the last 25-30 minutes.
There you go. Obviously read my mind.
If the takeover of Rangers does go through, Černý immediately becomes an interesting case in point, because Wolfsburg, as everyone knows, wants £6.5 million for him. Rangers in their current state couldn't look at that. He'd be back in the Bundesliga, no questions asked. But if the takeover takes place, you would think you would make Černý a priority.
Would you splash 6.5 for him, Hugh?
Right. If Adam Ida's 9, then he's certainly worth 6.5. It's radio. You answer me back.
No. I was looking at Ross, and he done the exact same thing. He just threw your face.
The concept of radio has been lost on certain people.
Well, you know what? If the two of you aren't going to contribute, let's hear from Hibs boss David Gray, who's been in speaking to the media after that 2-1 win against Celtic at Easter Road.
more excellent, outstanding actually, to be honest, probably the word I would use, purely because before the game I spoke a lot about we needed every player to be absolutely at the top of their game. Needed every player to give absolute everything and give the amount of energy that goes into that, and to buy into what we're trying to do from a game plan point of view, and I thought they delivered that. I'm delighted for them. They got out of the game what they deserved from the amount of effort they put into it. And every single one of them to a man were outstanding on the day, which we needed to beat a very good Celtic side. The run of form we're on and the momentum we've got at the moment clearly shows we're in a good place and a good place at the minute. But I think it's great, the result today, the attitude of the players, everything that goes into it, and all the praise goes towards the players for their efforts, and it's a true reflection on us sticking together during difficult times and really moving forward, and I think that's where we are right now. I actually just said to Adam there, I was delighted that the groundsman painted the lines straight this morning and the pitch was the size it was. I think that's the fine, very, very fine margins, isn't it? So the fine margins that we get the rub of the green today.
Yeah, probably as you'd expect from David Gray, praising his players, happy that the game plan worked out.
This Alistair Johnson incident where he gets the ball across and Maeda scores what he thinks is the goal to make it 2-2. This will of course dominate the headlines and it will rumble on, and in Monday night's programme, even Tuesday night's programme, it will still be going on and on and on about that. But I don't know, for me the ball was clearly out. All of the ball was clearly out. It was a real bad blow for Celtic. It was in the 83rd minute of the match. They had 15 minutes thereafter, but I agree with Gordon Dalziel not getting the goal, and I think justifiably not getting the goal deflated Celtic to the extent that all of those 15 minutes were spent huffing and puffing, but without ever looking as if they were going to get it after that moment.
I go back to David Gray there talking about his team. He's got to be delighted with the efforts and the commitment of his team. Yes, they're playing against a top quality Celtic side that only made 3 changes, showed you every respect, but to get off to that early start was crucial for them. Gives them that much confidence. Then to get the second goal, yeah, of course they're going to go a little bit deeper, of course they're going to try and protect that lead. And you know, the fact that Celtic get back into the game, and then the talking point with the ball over the line with Alistair Johnston. But all credit to him. Look at you know how far they've come. You wouldn't have seen that 4 or 5 months ago. They didn't have that in their locker. I'm saying now that they look better organised, better players playing with confidence. They can get goals. They're a threat of set play, and he deserves every pat in the back he's getting.
Yeah, still going 15 or so, probably more than that, minutes on the clock between Rangers and St Mirren at Ibrox. Hamza Igaman had a cross from deep that went across the 6-yard box. Robin Proper couldn't make contact with it. St Mirren have been up the other end as well. Does seem to be pretty end to end at Ibrox so far. A shot by Liam Donnelly, is that for Kilmarnock? A shot well over from outside the box after a corner.
What's Fraser saying about the new Motherwell manager, how the tactics are doing so far up there?
He said 10 minutes in, nothing has happened, United with more of the game.
Well, there you go.
Well, so we'll see if there is any sort of discernible changes from Michael Wimmer.
It's only right that we focus on the story of the new Motherwell manager, a German, not used to our kind of football. How would he impact the game? However,
I'll interrupt you there, Hugh. Partick Thistle 1, Airdrie 0, and it's Brian Graham that scored it. The interim manager has got himself on the score sheet, and what a way to do it. See if he's not openly come out and said he wants the job. I think he does that thing where, you know, interim managers sort of leave themselves open. What a way to be able to do it, to try and fire yourself into the manager's job. But yes, Partick Thistle 1-0 up against Airdrie. Mark Wilson doing wonders in the technical area, clearly.
Yeah, it's a big afternoon for it too. It's a good opportunity, you know, and obviously Mark takes a lot of responsibility. The fact that Brian will need to concentrate on playing, and he's certainly doing that. Gets off to a great start, first goal. So far it's very, very good start for Mark and Brian at Partick Thistle.
Michael Wimmer playing a 3-4-3 today. The front three is Luke Armstrong up top, Masmanise and Tom Sparrow either side. They've had their first shot of the game. It's come from Andy Halliday, well wide from 25 yards out. But we do have one of these in another game.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ross County 1, Dundee 1, and they've got an equaliser. It's Phillips that gets himself on the score sheet, and it is all square. So the goals in the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premiership all coming in Dingwall so far.
Well, as I say, I took that one for a draw. Long way to go yet, of course, but they're probably evenly matched. And with Simon Murray, there's always a chance for Dundee to get another goal. But the point I was going to make about Michael Vimmer, of course, that's the story. New man in town. But Dundee United, that's a virtual collapse on their part. 5 defeats in their last 6 games, only because this league's so bad. They don't even drop out the top 6. But it's a very important game for Jim Goodwin, because he can't go on losing matches.
It was a strange appointment. I didn't see the Motherwell appointment, where it came from. Everybody was second guessing. The usual suspects were coming up, the names were coming up. I looked at, he doesn't have a massive track record in first team management. I think where he sold it to the club is the youth side of it. He's worked the youth side out for a lot of years under good managers, under good players as well, brought on players, and I think Mother will see that as the sort of avenue to go down. But the most important thing for him just now is not the fact that the youth, it's if they don't start picking up points, they'll be in a relegation battle. They could be in trouble. So this is a big afternoon for them.
Yeah, that goal, I'm saying that goal for Ross County means that it will be 1 clean sheet in 27 for Dundee, says David Friel.
Well, that's why they're second bottom. But in this league,
they've almost just scored though. Finn Robertson with a free kick saved as Queen of the South take the lead away to Montrose. Adam Brooks from the penalty spot.
See, David Friel went all that way. True hack, and he's getting his reward. He got 2 goals, and it's 2 more than anybody else has got.
He went all that way because he's getting paid. What are you talking about?
That's a true hack.
I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about his real job.
Gordon, see, come back to what you just said there about his remit might be with the young kids and stuff. I reckon that's going to be maybe 18 months, 2 years down the line or whatever, because see with the injury record that Motherwell have had this season, see if these kids were good enough, they would have been in the first team by now.
Well, I said that I think it was Thursday or Tuesday, I said that in the programme. I'm sure Stuart Kettlewell has introduced 1 or 2 of them briefly, but I don't think that he sold it basically on his first team management experience. I think he's looked at the bigger picture now. I know that behind the scenes Motherwell were looking for someone to try and promote that youth and bring the youth on, because Motherwell have got a very, very good youth system. There's a lot of the players out on loan and gaining experience just now. You're right, it doesn't happen overnight. The biggest concentration for them just now is stop this, because they're losing games and they're losing them badly. You see last week at home, Ross County 3-0, too easy. So it's up to him to try and just stop that bleeding now and then build on it for obviously the future.
Ross McCormack has all the answers to the first half teaser.
Well, that's easy. He played with Leeds.
From Ross McCormack. Akil Wright also makes it almost makes it 2-1 from a George Harmon cross. What is all happening in that game between Ross County and Dundee? Dundee almost making it 2-1. Now Ross County almost making it 2-1.
Well, good. David was enjoying himself. I'm very surprised that quarter of the game has gone at Ibrox and it's still goalless. I really thought that Rangers would take impetus from Celtic's defeat, but no one to blame but themselves.
Right, should we hear from Brendan Rodgers and his take on Celtic's disallowed goal?
Well, I'm hoping to see conclusive evidence that it was out. The linesman on this side, he had his flag up quite a lot, but for the goal he clearly was probably one of the best views in the ground. And he kept his flag down, which tells me that he felt it was in. Not all of the ball goes out. So if it's the case, then you've got to go and review it with VAR. But then you're taking an angle from the 18-yard line. If you're taking the angle from the 18-yard line, and you can tell me that you can absolutely see 100%, then you're having a guess. And these are big games to be guessing, especially at this point of the season. So we were disappointed with that, and that's what killed our momentum a little bit. But yeah, I felt it was very harsh on the team. No, he was. He just said afterwards it was a VAR decision that it was factually out, which will be interesting from the 18-yard line. But if we don't have the actual images, and that's what I'm saying. But I don't want to be overly critical until someone produces an actual piece of evidence that tells us the ball was conclusively out.
I think it's a good point Brendan Rodgers makes at the end, because we know what happens in this part of the world, and people get quite hysterical about refereeing decisions and things happen. The VAR or the assistant VAR need to have conclusive evidence that the ball was fully over the line to overturn the decision. They will clearly feel they have it, but Brendan Rodgers just saying that he wants to see that evidence. I've seen our Twitter feed, there are a lot of Celtic fans that are saying that they want to see that evidence as well.
Yeah, as I said to you earlier, this story will dominate this programme into next week.
Well, it might not, because the conclusive evidence might just come out and then that's...
There is no form of evidence which the Celtic supporters will say is conclusive. So, and
it's a black and white decision though.
Yeah, but Brendan Rodgers has given them scope. Would you stop playing with your microphone?
Sorry, Hugh.
You nod your head, you play with the microphone. There's no concept of radio whatsoever.
It's a full 6 hours, Hugh. You've got to get some entertainment in.
But anyway, Brendan Rodgers has given the supporters scope to say that there is no such thing as conclusive evidence, and I'm very much afraid that it reflects on Brendan Rodgers' disappointment with the day as a whole. He's not normally the type of man to go on about these things, but he did once before in Edinburgh call referee and VAR incompetent when Celtic lost at Tynecastle, and we're in for round 2 of all of this now.
I'm also seeing people tweet us photos that have been taken off their television from different angles that are apparently conclusive evidence that the ball was in or out. That is not how VAR deal with this decision. It's not going to be those angles that people are sort of tweeting us taken on, photographs taken off their TV.
The one thing that Brendan Rodgers said, which cannot be disputed, is that thereafter it disturbed Celtic's momentum. It happened 7 minutes short of regulation 90 minutes being up, and there were a further 8 minutes after that. So for 15 minutes Celtic had a chance to get back over the disappointment. However, the disappointment was such that it deflated Celtic. But the story of, and those 2 words will be the dominant ones, conclusive evidence, will be what dominates everything now.
Yeah, I agree, Hugh. That incident is going to dominate, but let's look at the overall picture. I know that he'll probably speak about it. We've not heard the full interview, but surely he's got to be disappointed with the way Celtic started that game, the first half. Take nothing away from Hibs, and it showed you he was out in the touchline at the dugout early in the second half. He made 3 substitutions. So I think if he looks at the bigger picture and you look at the performance today, you can talk about the hard midweek game and the travelling and everything that goes with it, but he's got a massive squad there full of quality players. Celtic today, for me, collectively, were not at it.
I would dispute that he has a massive squad full of quality players
for the Premier League.
Well,
for the Scottish Premier to go to Hibs. Yeah, that's my point. I'm not talking about Bayern Munich, because it showed on Tuesday night that you only made 2 substitutions, and when the legs were falling off Celtic at the end. But today in the Premier League, going to Edinburgh against a Hibs side, of course he's got enough on his bench to put them on to win.
To be fair to Brendan Rodgers, we have only played out the clip referring to the goal that was disallowed by VAR.
He'll have talked at length about Celtic's performance, and we will get a clip of him talking about that. But certainly, that is you always, as a journalist, you will know, Hugh, the line in the press conference that will be the talking point. So that is why that clip was played out. But we will get his assessment of how Celtic played today. For
Celtic and Rangers supporters, they always suspect that officials have it in for them, that decisions are taken to deliberately hold them back,
And by the way, the fans of the other 10 clubs think that the refs are all favourable towards Celtic and Rangers and against everyone else. So
yeah, of course, we understand the environment in which we work, but Brendan Rodgers has given the Celtic supporters scope to say, we've been done. But of course, he visibly demonstrated his disgust in his team's performance by leaving the dressing room before the half-time interval was over, coming down the tunnel and standing on the touchline. Whether he left the players to fight it out amongst themselves or whatever, he has never done that in 8 years, 2 different spells of being Celtic manager. So he was clearly disgusted with their performance, and all of that will come out in the fullness of time. But this one particular incident will now spark all manner of controversy.
Elgin City 1, Edinburgh City 0. Ross Draper with the goal in that game. Bonnyrigg Rose are 1-0 down to Forfar. Ruben McAllister has scored for them.
Hugh, I don't think we'll see this conclusive evidence. I'll tell you for why. Because if VAR are looking at it from the 18-yard box, and Brendan's spot on here, there's absolutely no way they can look at something that tight and judge it from the 18-yard box.
But the VAR and the assistant VAR can only overturn the decision if they feel they have conclusive evidence. So the conclusive evidence that it's
got to come from
feel
somewhere
they
else
have
then.
seen, but they'll have all different angles that the TV aren't privy to, and they will be able to zoom in and work it that way. So they will have to feel that there is conclusive evidence, so they'll feel they have it. The Scottish FA, or certainly the assistant VAR and the VAR, will feel that yes, they have the conclusive evidence, so they will have that there. Whether it is conclusive evidence or not, we will see in what form we get it in, but certainly they will feel from the angles they have and how they can look at those images in the way that the TV pictures can't always do, then they'll feel that they have it.
And at that point, the Celtic supporters will say, no, you don't. You did it deliberately. And that's simply a fact of life. This is the part of the world in which we live. The Celtic supporters will believe that Alan Muir did it deliberately. I live in this city, have done all my life, and I know how they think. And that is what will be said. They think he did it deliberately. There is one man who has conclusive evidence, Alistair Johnson. He will know.
I don't think so though, because running at that speed, trying to play the ball, how tough it is to be able to, in his mind he's not looking at that ball and thinking, is that in, is that out? He's just trying to get his foot on it and get it back across the
Well, I tell you what then, if he can't see it from his position, then the conclusive evidence
he's running at full speed. We're talking about the VAR being able to zoom in and have a look at it. I mean, Alistair Johnson isn't going to be able to, may be able to say either way, but it's not as if he has conclusive evidence in a mental picture that he's got.
Okay, well, I'll just give you the journalistic argument here. And the journalistic argument is that there is no such thing as conclusive evidence for the Celtic supporters. They believe that it was done deliberately to deny Celtic an equalising goal.
Raith Rovers 1, Hamilton 0. Dylan Easton from the penalty spot to put them ahead at home.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, that's a good start for my old team, but I feel for John Rankin. He's come in for a lot of criticism. Results aren't going his way. He needs to be careful. He could be the next casualty in the management circle.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee United 1, Motherwell 0. Sam Dalby with the goal, the league's top goal scorer, and he puts his side ahead, and it means that Michael Vimmer's team are a goal down on his first match in charge.
Bad start, good for Dalby. I don't think Dundee United will be able to keep him. He'll go back to Wrexham. He may not stay at Wrexham, may go higher still, but what an acquisition he has been for Jim Goodwin. If it hadn't been for Dalby's goals, who knows where they would be. They're bad enough as it is, but his goals have kept them afloat.
Well, he's been a good signing. He certainly is. He's a goal scorer, knows where the back of the net is. Good start for Dundee United. Hugh pointed out their results lately haven't been good enough, especially after the start of the season. They need a win at home. I think Motherwell just now are just a club that are really, really struggling. I think I'm starting to get worried for my home side.
There is a VAR check though, Fraser Wishart, not quite sure what that is for, so we'll see if the goal stands or not. It was a powerful header 8 yards out into the top corner. The cross came from Ryan Strain. We will let you know whether that goal stands or not. It does stand, so it is Dundee United 1, Motherwell 0.
Tell me this now, the what do they call that panel? The
KMI, the key match incident.
I mean, they've come out yesterday and said that Hearts should have had a penalty against Rangers last Sunday. I don't see what we need that panel for, because you then...
It's essentially, it's more for the Scottish FA, I would say, because it's an independent panel aside from the Scottish FA, so it means that they're not marking their own homework. So when Willie Collum comes out and says this decision we feel was correct or we feel was wrong, it means that there's an independent source apart from Willie Collum and the SFA that then deliberate and make decisions, so that they're not just marking their own homework all the time, so that people can look at independent views on decisions.
Will the key match incident panel look at Alistair Johnson and the ball being over the line or not?
Potentially, yes. It's selected incidents and how it works, but it will come out in the fullness of time whether that is one of the selected ones or not, and whether one's over the line. They should be black and white calls, so I don't think they should be the types of ones that go to a KMI panel, because it's not as if the KMI panel should be deliberating on whether players are offside or not, or whether a ball is in or out of play, if you get me.
But that incident has had a material influence on the outcome of the
Scottish
game.
But if it is as black and white, if that concrete evidence comes out and the Scottish FA say, look, here it is, that ball is out of play, then there's no need for anyone else to get involved.
Was it for the push? One with the two hands on the back?
Yeah.
I thought it was a penalty.
I didn't think it was strong enough for a penalty.
I thought
it was also it was a split decision as well. 3 people on the KMI panel thought it should have been a penalty, 2 thought it shouldn't have been a penalty.
It's a split one in here. You're going no penalty,
so it's not black and white then.
Are you
No, I'm talking about that for those decisions. Those are decisions that aren't black and white. They're subjective. Right. That those are the ones that go to the KMI panel. Whereas the offsides and whether the ball was in or out of play are the black and white ones that don't tend to go to the KMI panel.
I think if you're the team involved, you're screaming for a penalty kick. If you're a team, obviously like Rangers, you're maybe saying, like Ross said, they're a bit soft. We've seen it before. I thought that Rangers were lucky to get away with it.
So in the world of conspiracy, in the west of Scotland, the mentality is Rangers did not have the penalty given against them because the referee did it deliberately. VAR did it deliberately. And now this Saturday, VAR has deliberately denied Celtic an equaliser.
Speaking of penalties, Kilmarnock have won at Pittodrie. Donnelly going down in the box.
My predictions are shambolic today, aren't they?
Yeah.
What did you go for? You went for a Rangers win. Rangers not really playing well at all, according to Roger Hanna, saying they keep giving the ball away. A pretty poor display. You went for an Aberdeen win.
Motherwell win.
Could go down to Kilmarnock or a penalty here. You went for a Ross County victory over
comfortable
Dundee.
As well, I said. Comfortable. I'm going home.
So we'll see who'll be taking that penalty for Kilmarnock. I know Bruce Anderson has been good from the spot for them. I'm not sure, is he starting this game or not? He isn't. 2 strikers, Bobby Wales, Marley Watkins potentially.
Wales, young player, full of confidence,
really good form as well. 3 goals in his last 4 games.
Certainly is. Good player, very, very good player.
I'd expect a good few teams to be interested in him in the summer, considering the fact that his contract's up.
Did you hear my Marley Watkins embarrassment on
Did you guys hear this?
Do you know, so I have something I would say.
Yeah.
Hugh was asked on Beat the Pundit, which nation does Marley Watkins play for, and he went for Jamaica. Clearly thinking of Bob Marley Watkins, which is now going to be his new nickname in Scottish football, by the way.
And it turns out to be Welsh. What can you do?
Ross Docherty has limped off for Dundee United. Lucas Stevenson is on in his place as we await this Kilmarnock penalty to be taken. I think it was Noster, the one of the new Aberdeen players, January signings, that gave away the penalty. But there is a VAR review ongoing, so we will see whether that penalty will stand or not.
So I don't have a VAR conspiracy that covers Aberdeen against Kilmarnock.
No. The referee is going to the screen,
so
this may well be overturned. It tends to happen when the referee goes to the screen, not all the time, but it
you
tends
told
to happen
us
more
about
often than not.
Everton and Man U today.
Yeah, they had Everton had a 93rd minute penalty overturned and meant that it finished in a 2-2 draw rather than the chance for them to get a penalty. Just seen that Joaquin Anderson has scored an own goal for Fulham against Crystal Palace. Just moved from Fulham to Crystal Palace last summer, didn't he? Not ideal against your former club.
Is that your conspiracy theory?
Oh, maybe.
Did it deliberately?
Because what Scottish football needs, or just football in general, is more conspiracy theories.
Yeah, exactly.
What certainly was Noster with the tackle. The referee taking his time. Over on the screen, Ross County have had a chance. Noah Chilvers, good run, blazes the shot over the bar. No penalty. The decision has been overturned, so Kilmarnock will not get the chance from the spot to take the lead at Pittodrie.
Right, so it's an east of Scotland conspiracy against teams from the west of Scotland. That's my theory.
You've got it correct, Hugh.
That's it. Fergie always said that when he was at Aberdeen. There's a conspiracy against us, but this time the conspiracy is in favour of them.
Tell you what, all pretty quiet from Ibrox for, I was going to say in the last few minutes, for pretty much the whole game. It's been quiet. We'll be approaching maybe the 40-minute mark now. I don't think that Rangers have really created too much at all.
I think that's, not there, can't see it, don't know, but simply understanding that as we approach half time it's still 0-0, that has to mean a shabby performance, because Rangers should be out the tunnel at 100 miles per hour. Celtic have just lost. Here we go, chance to shorten the gap between Celtic and Rangers at the top of the league, and for me, if it's 0-0 half time, that's a shabby performance.
Kilmarnock penalty overturned, ball up the other end.
No.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0. Ockles with a lovely low curling finish to put Aberdeen ahead. What a few minutes in that game. Kilmarnock thought they were going to go ahead from the penalty spot, but it's Aberdeen who have the lead at Pittodrie.
Well, the moments, the sliding doors moments, etc., etc. And Ockles, terrible player, but there you are, he's put them in front.
Do you like him?
Don't really tend to give folk much of a chance, do you?
I don't know why he's in the team.
Listen, I'm 75, I don't have time to give people much of a chance. Go
with what you're feeling, Hugh. That's what you're here for. But no, Aberdeen, that could be a good lead.
Could be one of your predictions coming up as well, Ross. There you go. Good start.
That's me, I'm back.
Maybe just try to get back on a little bit of a run again, get themselves a bit more confidence, especially at home, and there'll be a good attendance there. The fans have been turning out in good numbers to support them, so good opportunity to keep that momentum going.
Listen, great challenge by Robin Proper from a corner to deny St Mirren the opener. They had a real chance there, but the Rangers defender getting his body in the way, and it's level still at Ibrox into what Roger Hanna has just described as the second quarter of the game.
Tell him to shut up.
Honestly, Taylor Swift's coming on at half time. Ridiculous.
That will be concerning, because we talked about it during the week that obviously Rangers, a lot of my goodness, goal disallowed between Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. So that's not going to stand.
Maybe that momentum's just falling apart. This VAR is just making a fool of us here.
Yeah, but
VAR deeming it offside, so that is not going to count. That is a ridiculous few minutes in that game.
Well, more conspiracies.
Where were we? I was going to say that it seemed as if after the disaster that was Queen's Park, Rangers not performing to their best against Kilmarnock, against Hearts last weekend at all, still managing to get the win. The positivity around these takeover talks hasn't really transferred onto the pitch at all.
I suppose it encourages people to say that's why Rangers need to be taken over, because they need to get rid of the manager and some of the scrap that's on the park. I said scrap. And but for me, I just don't understand it. That they never grasp the notion of momentum. Yeah, Celtic have lost. Your obligation is to go out there, win well, send people home, dialing 951 1025 in order to tell us the championship race is back on. But this is a shambles.
Yeah, it won't be far off half time, which I think means we should probably wrap this up, Hugh.
Okay.
The first half teaser
with thescottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since 2013, 7 players have played for Leeds who have also played for Rangers. They are Glenn Kamara, Jack Butland, Kamar Roof, Marius Zaliukas, Ross the Boss McCormack, El Hadj Diouf, and Kyle Bartley.
Yes, easy work for Ross McCormack over there, of course, former Rangers and Leeds player on that list. The podium, though, in third place Zorlax, in second place Michael Donati, but Dylan Patton is top of that podium. Well done to you. We will have a Who Am I for the second half coming up later on.
The Who Am I is a bit naughty. If the Dazzler gets that one, I'll be very impressed.
I might ask a stupid question here. Did you play with anything?
Played with Juffy, yep.
Juffy.
Jack Butland.
Butts. Juffy and Butts.
I had another one actually. Did Marius Zaliukas at Rangers? Yeah, but I was at Leeds with him as well, so
yeah,
that could have been an option for an answer.
Now having to check to see whether he played for Leeds since 2013. He played for Leeds in the 2013-14 season. Bit of a VAR check on the go on that first half teaser. Oh dear. Oh dear. The whole thing's knackered straight away. That is not great. Oh, we have a big incident at Ibrox. Hamza Igaman sent off straight. Red card for a lunge on Mark O'Hara. Things not going well for Rangers today anyway, and now they are down to 10. Hamza Igaman off.
What a strange day. You know, not that being down to 10 men necessarily means that Rangers have lost all chance of winning the game, of course not. But a shabby performance, as I say, not there, can't see it, but the stats, 0-0, that stat's the only one that counts. That equates with a shabby performance. But Igaman out of the next game, which is Kilmarnock away, and I'm sure that Philippe Clement would rather have had him there than not. So we'll have to see the instant later on to find out if there's yet another conspiracy theory and the referee went out of his way to send a Rangers player off and give them a better chance.
There is the usual VAR check, which there always will be for a straight red card, just to make sure that the referee made the right decision. I think Hamza Igaman was protesting his innocence.
Well, he's not going to turn round and say, ref, it's a straight red, give me off.
Sometimes players know though, and they just get their head down and walk down the tunnel. You see it sometimes, don't you?
He's a young player, he might just be hoping for the best.
All players are cheats, so they
never admit guilt. That's my motto in life.
Yeah, still being checked. There is going to be 2 minutes added, probably more than that, because there is still a check ongoing.
Interesting.
But Mark O'Hara is up and okay. David Friel saying that his girlfriend's come in from the car park to check on him. I don't know if you know this. You remember this story that when Mark O'Hara...
I say it every weekend.
Oh, were you here? Mark O'Hara came in. You won't know this. Mark O'Hara came into the studio one night to do the show, and it turned out for the full time his girlfriend was just sitting in the car, in the car park the whole time listening in. Overturned. Hamza Igaman stays on. It's been downgraded to a yellow card. So Hamza Igaman was protesting. Turns out that the VAR agrees.
Right, so the conspiracy theory is Kevin Clancy deliberately wanted to send off Igaman, but was held back by VAR. So that's the conspiracy theory to cover that one.
Yeah, I think the way that sort of Roger is describing it, that he did sort of lunge in, but it was low, didn't actually catch Mark O'Hara with his leading foot, if you like, just sort of swiped through underneath him. And it wasn't in those sort of brutality, excessive force, endangering the opponent, all the markers that you see for red cards.
That's a very lengthy explanation. I prefer the conspiracy theories. You get it out the way quicker.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have plenty of those to come throughout the rest of the day. Let's go to the first half time, shall we? It comes in Dingwall, Ross County against Dundee. David Friel.
No conspiracy theories here, Andrew. Half time, Ross County 1, Dundee 1. All square, an action packed game as you would expect from two teams with so much to play for. It's been a good game. Simon Murray's 15th goal of the season put Dundee ahead, but Kieran Phillips grabbed a deserved leveller for Ross County. Both sides of a spell of pressure. I think this one could still go either way. County started really well. George Harman's low shot forced a save from John McCracken, but then in just 4 minutes Simon Murray put Dundee ahead. He scored 23 goals for Ross County last season and came back to haunt his old club with a wonderful finish, picking picking the ball up an angle of the box, curled a brilliant shot beyond Jordan Amisa. County were stunned, but they regrouped. Plenty of pressure, and Phillips made it 1-1 in 18 minutes. Casper Lapata was found free at the back post. He headed a cross goal for Phillips to tap in for his first ever County goal. Dundee come back into it again. Finn Robertson had a decent free kick save, but Ross County have also had a lot of pressure. Akil Wright probably their best chance, came so close to connecting with a harming cross for County. So good game. This one's evenly poised. We'll see what happens in the second half. Half time, Ross County 1, Dundee 1.
It's also half time at Tannadice for Fraser Wishart.
It is Dundee United 1, Motherwell 0. Not exactly action packed, took a while to get going. Nothing happened in the first half hour, but at least we've had a few chances in the last 15 minutes with the opening goal by who else? Sam Dolby, who given United a deserved lead. They had more of the game in the early stages, but 60 minutes before we had anything like an effort on goal. Either team, it was Andy Halliday well wide, a shot from 25 yards. 29 minutes gone, United's first chance. Alan Campbell did well on the right hand side. They hung the ball up to the back post, and left wing back Will Ferry brought the ball down, but John Kutrubis did well to force Ferry to hook the ball over. But 2 minutes later, United scored the opener. Simple goal, a lovely cross on the right hand side from Ryan Strain in a St Mirren jersey. Up jumped Sam Dalby, out jumped Liam Gordon to powerfully head the ball into the top right hand corner from about 8 yards. Immediately a real blow for United. Ross Docherty had actually played well, limped off to be replaced by Lucas Stevens. But Motherwell responded to the goal and had their better spell of the game. Halliday, a deep corner was headed back towards goal by Dan Casey. A great headed clearance from almost under his own crossbar by Declan Gallagher under pressure from Luke Armstrong. Then Tawanda Maswanisi went the closest for Motherwell. He drove forward, tried his luck from 25 yards, inches wide, with Walton worried and really at full stretch. At the other end, Rory Payton found himself free in the box. He should have at least hit the target, but he blasted wide of the post. Could do with a bit more excitement in the second half. First 45 not quite gone the way Michael Vimmer would have wanted, and it'll be interesting to see what changes he can and will make to get something going in the last third, because they haven't really created much in this first 45. Half time at Tannadice, Dundee United 1, Motherwell 0.
It's also half time at Ibrox. Roger Hanna.
It is Rangers 0, St Mirren 0. It's only breakfast time in San Francisco, Andrew, but if the good people of the 49ers had got up early on Saturday morning to watch this, they were wishing they'd stayed in bed. Very drab, very poor quality, and there are echoes of Rangers' performance against Queen's Park here 13 days ago. Jack Butland had an immediate scare. He gave the ball away to Juna Ayunga in the opening minutes, then managed to redeem himself by not only blocking Ayunga's shot, but then tipping over the rebound from Michael Mandron. It's a really bright start from St Mirren, but shaky beginning for Rangers. Jeffrey also giving the ball away at the back, as did Nico Raskan. And St Mirren, who of course won against Rangers in Paisley in Boxing Day, really on top in those early stages. Rangers first threatened, Zach Hemming having to make a save from Václav Černý after a quick break. Raskan fed the ball to Hamza Igaman. It went on to Černý. He came in off the right flank, left foot shot, pushed out by the St Mirren goalkeeper. Igaman then had a cross put just in front of Robin Proper in the 6-yard box after St Mirren had initially cleared a James Tavernier corner. But at the other end, Butland called into action again. Another save from St Mirren number 9 Mandron. And the buddies really on top at that stage and trying to give Stephen Robinson a 3 points on his 3rd anniversary as the gaffer. Richard Taylor did give the ball away to Yanis Hadji. His pass to Igaman, but a 20-yard shot deflected over the bar in front of the Broomlin stand. Mandron, he was booked for pulling back Raskan, and then Juna Ayunga also cautioned for a very similar offence in 42 minutes, and then the game exploded in controversy just as they went into a couple of minutes of added time. Igaman, a straight red card for a lunge on Mark O'Hara, the Buddies captain, right down in front of us. I actually thought the referee Kevin Clancy might well have got the decision right, but the VAR, Grant Irvin, sent the referee to the screen. He had a long look at it and he came back and decided to downgrade the red card to a yellow. Igaman stayed on. Rangers stay with 11 men. They might need them all in the second half. The much needed improvement for Philip Clement's side. Rangers 0, St Mirren 0.
And it's also half time at Pittodrie. Dave Galloway.
And it's Aberdeen 0, Kilmarnock 0 at the interval. A fast start from both teams for Kilmarnock. Polworth and Donnelly had shots from outside the box, easily saved. Odaba then burst forward but shot tamely at Meatoff, who pulled off a really good save to turn Lyons' powerful drive round the post from distance. Meatoff also looked lively to deal with Ndaba's shot from inside the area. Aberdeen with some good play but not troubling a well organised visiting defence, but plenty drama as half-time approached at either end. On 38 minutes, firstly, Kelly got a penalty for Knooster's tackle on Donnelly. That was overturned after Matthew McDermott checked the VAR screen. And just 2 minutes after that, Ockles curled home a brilliant low shot after Gay won the ball, but the ref, on advice from the VAR room, chalked the goal off for offside. Over the piece, this one's well balanced. It's been okay, but certainly not setting the header on fire. The game is screaming out for a goal. Hopefully we'll get some in the second half, but at the interval it's Aberdeen 0, Kilmarnock 0.
Plenty of drama in the opening 45 of the games across Scotland. We'll give you the full picture after these.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership: Aberdeen 0, Kilmarnock 0, Dundee United 1, Motherwell 0, Rangers 0, St Mirren 0, Ross County 1, Dundee 1. Of course, there was a 12:30 kick-off between Hibs and Celtic at Easter Road. It finished Hibs 2, Celtic 1. In the Scottish Championship, it's Ayr United 0, Livingston 1, Dunfermline 0, Queen's Park 0, Mark Wilson's Partick Thistle 1, Airdrie 0, Raith Rovers 1, Hamilton 0. In League 1, Annan 1, Alloa 0, Cove Rangers 1, Dumbarton 1, Kelty Hearts 0, Inverness 0, Montrose 0, Queen of the South 1. Down into League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Forfar 1, Clyde 0, Spartans 1, East Fife 0, Peterhead 0, Elgin 1, Edinburgh City 1, Stranraer 2, Stirling Albion 0. And into the English Premier League, in the early kick-off, it finished Everton 2, Manchester United 2, Arsenal are 1-0 down to West Ham. It's Bournemouth 0, Wolves 1, Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1, Ipswich 1, Tottenham 2, Southampton 0, Brighton 1, Aston Villa Chelsea is the late kick-off down south. We'll bring you the second halves next.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time in our games across Scotland. I think we may be able to go back to Ibrox and speak to Roger Hanna. Has it been pretty flat at Ibrox so far?
Yeah, it really has. You know, I spoke to you before 3 o'clock, Andrew, about the positivity that had come out the last few days with the talk of the takeover from America, with that glamour draw against Fenerbahce in the next round of the Europa League, with the vote of confidence, if you like, for Philippe Clement from Patrick Stewart. But then kick-off came and Rangers were as flat as they had been against Queen's Park. And it's flat, let's be honest, as they were for long spells of the game at Tynecastle last Sunday. I know they won the game, but it really wasn't the best performance. They were indebted to Jack Butland at times. And again, in this first half, Butland has made some really good saves. I mean, one, he caused the problem by giving the ball away to Jonah Ayunga, but he made a decent save. He then knocked the rebound from Michael Mandron away from a corner. He denied Mandron again later on. He needed Robin Proper to come in with a really, really strong challenge at the near post to clear away across just as Ayunga was ready to pounce late in the half. But he's been by far the busier goalkeeper. Zach Hemming had an early save to make from Václav Černý, but apart from that, he hasn't really been tested. There was of course a controversy just before half time. Kevin Clancy, the referee, initially flashing a straight red card at Hamza Igaman for a challenge on Marta Hara. He was sent to the screen by the VAR. Grant Irvin, he changed his mind, he downgraded it to a yellow. I haven't seen it again. My first inclination was that maybe it could easily have been a red card. I would need to see it again, I have to say, Andrew. But Rangers need to lift their game. They couldn't lift their game here 13 days ago against Queen's Park. They were eliminated from the Scottish Cup, and if they don't improve in the second half, they will drop points here today.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. New school year, new bugs. Get advice on infections and viruses at your local pharmacy.
I'll tell you what, just as quickly as we've got the second halves underway, we've got one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it is for Ross County. They are 2-1 up against Dundee, and it is, well, I think it was Ronan Hale had missed a sitter. Chilvers had a low shot pushed out. They had some real early pressure, but it was a Keel Wright with a sort of overhead kick style finish that came from a corner. Really good from the defender, and it means they have the lead over Dundee.
Well, it won't matter to Don Cowie who put it in and how. He's in front, and that's all that matters.
That's the reaction you're looking for as a manager. You've had a good positive team talk at half time, said look, go out there and produce the goods, and right away Ross County are, honestly, if I was following any team in Scotland, it'd be Ross County. You never know what you're getting.
You wouldn't. No chance you'd be going up to Dingwall.
No, I'd probably watch it on their telly. In fact, I wouldn't even have went to Fir Park last week to see them. I'm a pitching wedge away from that, but they're just one of these teams, you never know what they're going to produce. You know, and last week against Motherwell, they get away from home, they play good stuff, they won comfortably, they go behind today, all of a sudden they're back in the game.
David Friel was saying that they basically hadn't won away from home, was it in 14 months, and they've now won 4 times on the road recently, but now haven't won in 4 months at home. It's impossible to guess what they're going to do next.
Look, as I say, even in the second half, you've got to lose a goal, lose it right just after half time, but still a long way to go in that game. I fancied Ross County
Tell you
today.
what, you can't second guess Ross County.
Goal flashes
2-2
with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ross County 3, Dundee 1. Noah Chilvers on the break. And what about that? Kieran Phillips squares it. Low finish from Noah Chilvers, and Ross County now in control in Dingwall
and in the top 6 as things stand. Now work that one out. So Tony Docherty must be tearing his hair out. This is a real bad run.
Not quite.
No,
I think they are, because St
yeah.
Mirren technically as it stands have a point. Kilmarnock as it stands have a point. So it means that Ross County would be on 32 points along with the two of them, but behind them on goal difference.
But Aberdeen will beat Kilmarnock and Rangers will beat St Mirren.
Convinced about both of those? Given the picture that Roger Hanna just gave us from Ibrox, no changes
as I was
from
when
Rangers,
I said
incidentally.
to you, game over earlier today.
Yeah, and only for a fraction of the ball being out, you'd have got your prediction.
That's neither here nor there.
That's correct. I would argue the same, Hugh, there. But I've got to say, what a start to a second half for Ross County. But I'll tell you, that's a massive blow to Dundee. They have fallen like a stone.
Yeah, barely kicked off in the other games, and we already have a couple of goals between Ross County and Dundee. Dundee United have started on top in the second half against Motherwell, but before we get any more action, Hugh, let's do this.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
A lot of information here. So I have played alongside Lee Miller, Ryan Stevenson and Lawrence Shankland. I've been managed by Neil Critchley and Jack Ross. I've won an English League One title and promotion to the Scottish Premiership. Who am I? Played alongside Lee Miller, Ryan Stevenson and Lawrence Shankland. Been managed by Neil Critchley and Jack Ross. Won an English League One title and promotion to the Scottish Premiership. Who am I?
Yeah, tough one that. A lot of information, so if you want to see it written down, at Clyde SSB on Twitter, and what you need to do is get the answer before anyone else. Tweet us that answer at Clyde SSB for your chance to be on the podium come the end of the second halves. I can already see Ross McCormack and Gordon Dalziel scribbling away there, trying to work out what the possible answers could be, putting the jigsaw together.
Yeah, a lot of information in that. I just need to gather it and digest it before I come out with my usual answer.
You already had a guess at that, Ross?
I've not. I think sometimes you can get maybe too much information.
Yeah.
You need to sort of cross a few things out here and there.
There is a lot there. So at Clyde SSB, you can see it all written down and try and work it out for yourselves.
So
I've already gone down that path.
Is that a lack of professionalism, Daz, for Dundee to lose 2 goals
Well,
as quickly as that after the break?
Well, it was you come out with that, Hugh, and I totally agree with you. I think they've obviously been caught, but is it such a good response from the home side? That's taken on board the information from the manager. He's obviously got them up for a second half. They've come out, and you would be pretty disappointed if you're Don Cowie and you didn't get the full 3 points today. Very disappointed.
Annan Athletic 1, Alloa 1. The visitors have equalised. Kane Thompson on the score sheet for them. Just thinking, Gordon, for the second half teaser, you could use A1 to try and get the answer.
Okay, Andrew. We all can be smart after the event.
Oh no, Firhill.
Oh, Airdrie have equalised. Partick Thistle 1, Airdrie 1. Ben Wilson on the score sheet. He's back amongst the goals after having a good start to the season.
Yeah, boys, come out and keep it tight for the first 15. We're winning 1-0, and then we'll go and capitalise. 1-1.
Should explain that A1 reference for anyone that wasn't listening on
I was
Thursday
a bit
night.
unfortunate, wasn't it?
It's not
really
great, is it?
How's it not great?
I mean, did you hear this, Ross?
No.
That the Beat the Pundit went to a tiebreaker. It was how many red cards have been shown in the Scottish Premiership this season? I think you went for about 54.
Well, the guy got it on the
caller
nose,
went for
didn't he?
32, got it on the nose. Gordon Dalziel accused him of using A1 to get it because he's only ever seen AI written down. He didn't know that it was actually artificial intelligence. That was A1.
The dog there, I can't believe. Do you think that's a bit unfortunate, Ross?
I thought you were talking about the motorway or something.
I was actually talking about the motorway. You come out with things and.
You looked into AI at all since Thursday night? Not fancy it?
No, I don't even know what it is, mate, to be honest with you. I'm not really interested in technology at my age.
You're very interested in what happened to Partick Thistle now between now and the final whistle, though.
Look, there's a part of me inside saying I wish them all the best, right? But
there is a much bigger part.
But then that just takes over. That sort of you're not a nice person screaming at you, right? Thinking, I hope they're battering the second half.
Yeah, we'll see how that unfolds. It was Brian Graham, of course, player interim manager, that gave them the lead, but Ben Wilson has equalised for their opponents at Firhill. So Partick Thistle 1, Airdrie 1. I think it's been a relatively quiet start to the second half in most of the games. No big chances apart from, of course, in Dingwall, where Ross County scored 2 quick fire goals at the start of the second half to take a commanding 3-1 lead over Dundee. You'd suspect, though, the way that game's going, that there's probably more goals in it, Hugh.
Although I agree with the Dazzler, you cannot be 3-1 up at home and not win that game deep into the second half. I mean, again, having accused Dundee of lacking professionalism by losing 2 goals so quickly after the resumption, I would say that to lose the match from a
just as I say
position,
it, Simon Murray with a sitter probably should have scored, really should have scored, should have at least hit the target 4 yards out. Unable to find the net though, so it remains 3-1. St Mirren do have the ball in the net, but it's pulled back for a foul on Clinton Enciala. Mikel Mandron's challenge at the edge of the box, but of course VAR will check it. So there is potential that St Mirren may have the lead. It was a good finish from, I think it was Mikel Mandron with a shot in the end.
Well, Roger Hanna said at halftime there were echoes of the shameful performance against Queen's Park, and I can call it shameful because it was the chief executive at Rangers, Patrick Stewart, who said that the result against Queen's Park was a source of shame, and so Roger's been proved correct. It continues to go on in that vein. It's only further proof for the Rangers fans that they don't want Philippe Clement.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not getting mocked quite as much as I did at 3 o'clock.
That is true. You did say it would be a draw between the teams.
Look, I might get this wrong because I do tend to get few predictions wrong, but I just thought it'd been a tough game for Rangers. But I agree with what Hugh's saying. See if your Rangers, the incentive you've got when hearing the result come from Easter Road is incredible, but they've not used it to their advantage.
It's a long check, this one, to see whether the goal will stand. Mikel Mandron, it was adjudged to have fouled Clinton Enciala by the referee on the pitch. He then broke through, scored past Jack Butland, just waiting to see whether VAR deem it clear and obvious enough to overturn it and give the goal.
What's Roger saying?
Just saying he's waiting, that's all.
Is that all Hannah's got?
Yeah, he said pulled back for a foul on Enciala. No opinion given either way.
I want an opinion. That's what he's there for, to make the big calls.
You know he'll just wait until the decision's made.
Exactly. Well, yeah,
that's fine. Still waiting.
Hugh, what we can say in terms of St Mirren is
he says looked soft. Roger,
what does that mean? Is he giving the goal or not? That's what I'm asking.
I'm imagining looked soft means that he probably would give the goal.
Yeah, that's the problem with our pundits out and about the grounds. They're not brave enough to put their neck up there in the parapet. They've got to go out there and be brave.
Well, the VAR has decided that it is enough to go to the screen for Kevin Clancy, who is making his way over. So VAR did save Rangers in the first half. Hamza Igaman sent off, but that was downgraded to a yellow card. Grant Irvin has told Kevin Clancy to go to the screen, and this may well be an opening goal for St Mirren.
Well, we'll wait for the decision, and then I'll give you the conspiracy theory.
I'll give you a few minutes to sort of work it out in your head.
You've
got it already?
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. I think there have been a couple of Aberdeen players going down getting treatment. Toby Keskinen had a shot from a tight angle. Decision at Ibrox.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 0, St Mirren 1, and that will count after a VAR check. Mikel Mandron initially adjudged to have fouled Clinton Nsiala in the build up to that goal, but Grant Irvin saying not enough in it. The St Mirren players run over, celebrate in front of the travelling supporters, and they have the lead at Ibrox.
Well, it adds to my sense of utter bewilderment where Rangers are concerned, to come out immediately after a Celtic defeat and now to be down at home again. It tells me that irrespective of takeovers, anything else, Philippe Clement will never ever be a Rangers manager and will be away when this season ends. They won't do anything about it because of the Europa League, Fenerbahce, Jose Mourinho, all the fun of the fair. But this will be further evidence of Clement being unfit for purpose.
But to be honest, they can still turn this round, right? Of course they can. But I'm looking at this today, and I know that Hugh was giving me a bit of stick about when I said a draw. I'm not surprised. I don't see this Rangers team as, well, it's a great opportunity for them, which it was before the game. They come out, they would batter St Mirren, they'd be on the front foot. I don't think they've got that. That team's not got that in their locker, right? It's as simple as that. You seen against Queen's Park, they were dreadful, right? Got put out of the Scottish Cup, should never been accepted. They go to Hearts. Now, I'm all for, I don't care how you won the game, it's all about winning the game. But if your Hearts, you're feeling a bit unlucky because you put so much into it and you should have got something out of the game. But fair play to Rangers, they go with their difficult circumstances. I don't see them turning up and just steamrolling teams. I don't think they've got it in their locker and their makeup.
Well, Rangers have plenty of work to do, approaching the hour mark. Just shy of that, I think, at Ibrox, and they are 1-0 down to St Mirren. Mikel Mandron's goal stands following a VAR check, or was given following a VAR check after it was ruled out on the pitch. Means Kevin Clancy has had two big decisions in this game that on the pitch the VAR has deemed he got wrong, and he's had to go to the screen to overturn.
Yeah, the fans will have a field day. This is what Super Scoreboard was made for. This is what I was put on earth for.
I think you've willed these conspiracy theories into existence with all your talk about it today.
See, I was going to say to you, you're from the posh side of Glasgow. You're a posh boy from the south side. When you're born in Partick, when you're brought up in a housing scheme called Drumchapel, this is your life.
You couldn't even direct me to where I wanted to go in Drumchapel. And you tell everybody in this programme, I phoned them the other night there, Hugh, how do I get to such and such in Drumchapel? I'll phone you, but Drumchapel, yeah, I did get that a bit mixed up there. Drumchapel, he went, I'll phone you back and I'll find out for you.
What were you doing in Drumchapel?
I was doing something in Drumchapel for
but I was trying to.
Anything in particular?
Yeah, I was doing a bit of work.
Okay, sounds suspicious, that doesn't it?
Anyway, I was trying to take him into Drumchapel without actually going into what we know as the scheme, but it's off Great Western Road and it's hard to pinpoint a street.
Somebody that grew up there all their days, right? And then eventually
it was a while ago, to be fair,
and eventually got to the stage where he just phoned me back and says, use your sat nav.
And I said to you, put in Drumchapel Station because it was beside Drumchapel Station.
It was right behind it.
Yeah,
right behind it.
So I told you, just put in Drumchapel Station. But anyway,
that St Mirren goal has sparked a change from Philippe Clement. It is Hamza Igaman off and Danilo coming on. So that partnership of Dessers and Danilo, one you don't often see as much. It's normally Igaman and one of the other two, but it'll be the two of them.
It means that Igaman has now gone 7 games without scoring a goal. Now, it's not so very long ago that he was the man who was going to get Rangers £25 million in transfer fees, etc., etc., etc. Now it's 7 games without a goal.
Nicola Raskin trying to get Rangers back in it. A shot from 25 yards. Hemmings with the save.
Well, Roger will confirm, but this will, for Rangers to lose another match at home, this will provoke all sorts of storms. While the takeover bid is in the process of going through, you can't have Rangers going out of the Cup to Queen's Park at Ibrox, followed by losing to St Mirren at Ibrox. I know that Patrick Stewart's already said Europe is keeping Clement in a job, but the Rangers fans will continue to really go against the man.
Couple of changes for Michael Vimmer, the new Motherwell manager. Abiye and Slattery on, Armstrong and Sparrow off.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can get a response. I actually sat by the roadside and took in 20 minutes of his training session the other day there. It's incredible, isn't it? A Premier League side, and you just drive up, you stop at the side of the road and you can just watch them.
Were you pulled up at the side of the road anyway and just happened to see that going on, or were you there intentionally?
I was actually going up to where they trained Dale Park. I was going up to the golf, and I seen them training. I just pulled over and sat and I watched, and they were actually doing shape, right? Their team for today, the way they were lined up, watching the new manager. I'm thinking, looking forward, and I'm thinking, where's Jim Goodwin doing here? Right, incredible that a Premier League team. It's like a public look, a fantastic facility.
Marcelo Bielsa had to go to further lengths than that, didn't he, in the whole Spygate scenario?
Yeah, was that against Derby in the
when Frank Lampard was the Derby manager, and they had someone at the training ground basically sitting amongst the trees watching what was going on.
You don't even need to be in the tree, you can just be in the pit, you can just stand
on the main road.
There. It's incredible. It's a great facility, but surely for a Premier League you've got to have a wee bit more privacy. I think Motherwell desperate to get a training ground, aren't they? Really desperate to get a training ground.
Well, first of all, they should be desperate to stay in the division, and then they can take it from there.
Yeah.
Just on the topic of Leeds, since we were talking about them there, Ross, your former club, of course, they are heavily involved with the San Francisco 49ers, financially backed by them. These 49ers enterprises looking as if they're going to take over Rangers. Just, you follow Leeds closely, just what have you made of what's happened at Leeds since the 49ers came in?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough over the last couple of years to spend a bit of time round about the club, working match days and what have you, and yeah, big transformation. I always said since the days that I was there, that's what they needed. They needed the club to fall into the hands of a proper owner, proper organisation, and that's what they've got with the 49ers. I look at them being interested in Rangers, and it's quite interesting because over the last couple of years, everything that's happened at Leeds United has been a sort of secret. No one knows who they're going to sign until they're signed. So I think with the talks that have been going on in the background with Rangers and stuff, I've got a little thought about that. I think now that it's got out, I would assume that it's very, very close to being done now. Because who's your manager at Leeds, Ross? I had
no
loads. Simon Grayson, Neil Warnock, Brian McDermott. There was a few.
All right, okay. Good club, Leeds. Good club. Good nightlife.
I'm not sure actually, I didn't go out much.
Trying to have a serious conversation about takeovers here, and let's get into nightlife.
Manchester
and Leeds
was brilliant, I've got to say. Why did you sign with City? Oh, the nightlife was brilliant.
Can you see why the 49ers enterprises would be interested in Rangers? Can you see that combination working together?
I can see why anyone's interested in owning Rangers. They're such a global phenomenon. They're a massive, massive club. Yeah, I can understand why. I can, and I think it'll be a really good thing for Rangers as well, because looking at what's happened to Leeds United, I believe it was the 49ers that brought Red Bull to the table as well, who put in big investment to Leeds United. So I think going forward, if the 49ers get their hands on Rangers, I believe there'll be other outside investment which they'll source. So it can all be a good thing for Rangers and for Scottish football.
One thing that Dave King came out and said yesterday in his quotes, speaking to various newspapers, he'd said it before, but he was talking about investment fatigue that he feels a lot of investors at Rangers have. Do you feel that is maybe the main catalyst really? He was saying that he kind of feels as if he's maybe shut out at the club. He's not going to be able to make any decisions. There are a few others like that, and he feels that maybe those that have big stakes in the club have investment fatigue. Can you see exactly why this is the moment, Hugh, for Rangers to possibly be selling up?
Yeah, absolutely. Too many men have lost an awful lot of money trying to make Rangers better, and Rangers for the last 13 years have not amounted to very much other than the one title that the fans craved, which ironically came in a season when they couldn't get into the grounds because of COVID. But too many men have tried and failed. The supporters know it, and that's why the banners say their loyalty is not a free pass for failure. And it's time for Rangers to have the complete revolution. It changes the club dramatically. It takes the club out of the hands of generations of men who were what our callers here would call real Rangers men, and it takes the club into the hands of an American owner. But I don't think the Rangers fans care about that at all. They just want to have a successful team on the park. They are currently one down to St Mirren, a bang average mid-table Premiership club, a fortnight after going out of the Scottish Cup to a mid-table Championship club, losing to a side from a lower division for the first time in Rangers history. All of which takes us to the situation where the old ways no longer work. Bring in the owner, bring Rangers into the 21st century. Never mind all the nonsense about real Rangers men. They want a real Rangers success on the park, and a move like this promises, doesn't guarantee, but promises a better hope of that happening.
I think that's the majority of the Rangers fans' thoughts there, what Hugh's talking about. Because in the present right now, Rangers as a club, from top to the bottom, are going absolutely nowhere. They're going absolutely nowhere. And I think the Rangers fans, you see it again at Ibrox, turning out in huge numbers, paying a lot of good hard-earned cash to go and support their team. Okay, there's no guarantees with that. That's what happens when you're a supporter of any club. But the size of Rangers, they deserve better for me. And it needs new direction. It needs a freshness. It needs new energy. And I'm talking throughout the full club here. And if the 49ers will ever come in and invest in the money, I think the Rangers fans would be delighted with that.
There maybe would have been a time, Ross, where Rangers supporters, certainly some Rangers supporters, may have been against the idea of a big sports investment group taking over, because you hear the phrases, might not have the best interests of the supporters at heart. They don't know the club. They might treat supporters as customers. But has it maybe got to the point for Rangers supporters, for many of them, that they feel they're at a point where it really can't get much worse and something fresh is needed? Yeah, probably. But I think what also helps is they can probably see what they've done at other clubs. I mean, Leeds weren't, an unbelievable team going very high in the sort of Premier League, top end of the Championship and stuff, and what they've done there has been fantastic. So the Rangers fans will be able to look at that and go, well, if they've done it there's no reason why they can't come here and do the same. So I think they've got every right to be excited about it. I think, knowing what I know about the 49ers, which is quite a bit, to be fair, you hear a bit about them in Leeds, I think they'll be a good set of owners. 31 years ago on this programme, Fergus McCann and I were asked to leave Celtic Park because we were about to do our phone-in 5 o'clock Saturday night, and we were thrown out. And we were thrown out by the order of one of the families who had historically run Celtic. We went out into the car park and we did the phone-in from the Radio Clyde Jeep in the car park. And I knew then that night Fergus McCann would be the new owner of Celtic, because the Celtic fans had had enough, and to use Gordon's description of Rangers, they were going nowhere. And Fergus McCann came in and transformed the club, and it remains transformed 31 years later, because he put a business model in place that was impeccable. That's where Rangers are at. They've gone as low as they can go, and it requires a 360-degree turn away from all the old ways. Come and keep up with football in the 21st century. Rangers fans will be hoping that it has good long-term effects on the football club, but they're going to need some short-term effects if they want to come away with anything from this game against St Mirren today. We're approaching probably around the 70-minute mark at Ibrox now. Rangers 0, St Mirren 1. Mikael Mandron with the only goal. Rangers have made a couple of changes. Cyril Dessers had an effort a couple of moments ago, but I think he was offside, still dragged the shot wide from a decent position. Ayr United have equalised against Livingston. That could be a big goal for them. Marco Roos with a goal.
Tell you what, having looked, hold on.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 0, St Mirren 2. Toyosi Olasanya off the bench on the score sheet, and it was a dreadful mistake by Clinton Nsiala. He was involved in the first goal because a foul was given by Mikael Mandron on him in the lead up to the goal. Referee ruled it out. Clevin Clancy went to the screen. The goal was eventually given, and he is at fault for this one. A header to no one, and Toyosi Olasanya has finished it off. Roger Hanna saying it's totally deserved. Rangers are all over the place and the fans are heading for the exits.
Well, it only underlines what we were discussing 2 or 3 minutes ago. Club going nowhere, a manager unfit for purpose, years and years and years of non-success, Celtic utterly dominant in Scottish football and in the city of Glasgow. So Clement's finished. It will come at the end of the season, or it doesn't really matter when it comes, but it will come.
Is
now.
that it for you? Philip Clement will not be the long-term manager of Rangers.
If Rangers had been Rangers, they would have got rid of Clement night of the Queen's Park defeat. But this now is really embarrassing and a shambles.
How much do you think the potential investment, the talks behind the scenes, the takeover has a part to play in any decisions that could be made around the manager? Do you feel if this wasn't going on in the background and Rangers were going to continue on with the board and the investment that they've got, that a decision may have been made on Philippe Clement rather than holding out to see what is going to take place with investment and then to review in the summer?
My observation when they lost the Queen's Park was that unless they get rid of him now, straight away, using that one game in isolation as an embarrassment too far, then it could only further damage Rangers' credibility. Philippe Clement has no credibility, but he could damage what credibility, if any, he had left. So they did nothing, and they are now paying for their indecision, or rather, they're paying for their wrong decision to just leave him there to inflict further damage on Rangers' reputation.
I agree with you. I'm sorry, I'm not here to shout for managers to get the sack and lose their job. I've been there, I know how hard it is. But Hugh's right, there's a lot of weakness round about Ibrox. The team's weak, the manager's weak, and decisions from above just now are weak, because no other manager in the history of Rangers Football Club would have survived getting put out of the Scottish Cup to Queen's Park. End of story. On top of that, they bring in an assistant manager and put him in a 3-year contract. When you're looking at a manager, you're thinking, I don't think he might not be here 3 weeks, never mind 3 years, unless they've got a plan for this guy who has come in under Clement to promote him into some situation. I don't know. But the full club just now, for me, is weak.
They've given the Celtic fans and Brendan Rodgers a reprieve, because Brendan Rodgers, has created a controversy over the Alistair Johnson, was the ball in or out, but Celtic didn't play well enough to win the match, and having lost, they presented Rangers with a gift. Rangers have now looked the gift horse straight in the mouth, and the stadium is emptying once again because the players are poor, the manager's poor, everything about them is poor, and that's why it doesn't matter whether it's the 49ers or anybody else who takes over. Rangers need a complete blood transfusion.
But the problem is, Hugh, right, the problem is for me, Rangers football as a club will sit back and let this manager come out if he loses this game and probably try and talk nonsense to the supporters. Supporters have enough. You heard Roger Hanna there. they're leaving in their droves, and rightly so. You expect more from a club. Ross said there, why would something like the 49ers not be interested in Rangers? Look at the size of the club, look at potential, look at everything about the football club. It's a shambles just now, and the supporters do not deserve what they're getting fed up. Now, also, when was the last time you see Celtic Rangers losing the same day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, as much as it's been a bad day for Celtic, you can make an excuse for Celtic, right? You can turn around and say, look what they had to endure on Tuesday night, and the efforts, they made 3 changes, they're away to Hibs, Hibs are in form, whatever. You can't do that. Rangers' last game at Ibrox was Queen's Park. Get put out of the Scottish Cup, you're back home, you've got the added incentive that you've just heard that Celtic have lost. You've got a wee chance to take it down to 10, and you come out against St Mirren, and at home you're leaving 2-0, losing 2-0, and your stadium's nearly empty.
Again, understanding the DNA of this city, if it remains 2-0, the Celtic fans will say, do you know what, we weren't very good today, but what about the state of them? And that's the way the city works.
Clinton and Ciala got a lot of praise from Philippe Clement after the win against Hearts last week. He's been heavily involved in both of St Mirren's goals.
Yeah.
Philippe Clement talked about the progression he's made and how good he thinks he's been since he's been thrown in. He's maybe ahead of schedule, but today he's maybe that inexperience has shown.
Exactly. He is an infant professional. He hasn't had 30 professional games. And Ross McCormack will tell you from his own experience at Rangers how long it takes Ross to come up to the mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to answer. I was never good enough there, to be honest. Never ever going to play, but I found that a little bit strange last week as well, to be fair, that he was giving him that much credit considering how many chances that Hearts actually had. But no, it's... can I just put a different slant on it? Let's talk about Stephen Robinson and what he said before the game. He has played it absolutely perfect. He spoke about Olasanya, who I expected, probably everyone expected to start, and he said no, we're keeping him for later on for his pace and his energy, and look what's just happened.
The understandable thing, from a journalistic perspective, from the perspective of a programme like this, David Gray and Stephen Robinson will largely be overlooked because there's been a controversy over a Celtic goal that was disallowed by VAR, and there will be yet another postscript here where Rangers are concerned, where they're saying how can this man still be there, this Philippe Clement? So the post-mortem will go on, but the bottom line is that for the Celtic supporters, they'll say, OK, we lost, it was an anticlimax after Munich, but what about that?
Yeah, but I think we get caught up in something here, Hugh. We always seem to switch on to, you're talking about Insiala there, right? Apparently he's not been great at the goals. Clement, why is he giving them? Right, I look at Celtic today and I look at Rangers. It's probably a collective thing. We tend to go for an individual because he's in the spotlight. You look at Roger, I heard his half-time report. Rangers were not at it, right? That's as a team. That's them working as a team. Celtic were excellent in Tuesday against Bayern because every single one of them, done their job and were brilliant at it. Today, I don't think you can pick out Celtic and say, well, Ida, for instance, first half, he come in for a lot of stick and people like that. It's as a team. I don't think Celtic performed well as a team today. And certainly Rangers at home, as much as the young boy's got to take a bit of criticism because the 2 goals comes from probably the weakness of him, you've got to look at the full team and what it's trying to achieve here. Everybody talks about Rangers. Well, there's no style, there's no game plan, there's nothing to them. Rangers are a shambles just now.
But if ever there was going to be a Saturday afternoon when Ibrox should have been absolutely buzzing, it was when the fans were told a takeover's on the way, money's on the way, and then before they even take their seats for kick-off, and Celtic have lost. Now it goes to the very fibre of the club that under those circumstances Philippe Clement could not even salvage 1 point at home against St Mirren and loses in the most embarrassing fashion.
We saw it after the Queen's Park game that Philippe Clement came out and talked about how many shots Rangers had. It's not really going to stack up today, is it? Because the performance overall, the performance obviously against Queen's Park wasn't great. Rangers are expected to have that many shots at home against a team in the Championship, but not sure many fans would accept it if he came out and tried to talk round the result by saying that, they had X amount of shots, not that they really have done today.
No, listen, Rangers fans can see straight through him now. I think that's one of his biggest, apart from the team that he puts out in the pitch, who obviously ain't performing, his biggest problem other than that for me is his post-match interviews. They are absolutely shocking. I said in the show this week as well, he can't have it both ways, because after the Queen's Park game he came out and says, we didn't deserve to lose that, we had X amount of shots, possession, all the rest of it. That's fair and well, but what about Hearts? They stole that result considering how many shots and stuff Hearts had, so you can't have it both ways.
I'd be perfectly serious. If I were Rangers, I would ask him not to do the post-match press conference. I would send in Alec Ray. I don't think that you can have him on top of the embarrassment that comes on top of the humiliation against Queen's Park. I don't think you can have him come in and start to say things that will drive the Rangers supporters round the twist.
Is that not more embarrassing for him, though, as the manager of the football club, if you're then not even able to come out and speak after a game?
I think you've got to face up to, I know what Hugh's saying, because I think we all agree that some of the stuff, and Rangers supporters are sick to the teeth with it. I totally agree in that point, but as a manager, you cannot now just go, do you know what, I'm going to shy away. Alec Ray, well, you're an ex-Ranger,
after being backed by the club CEO
exactly.
earlier on in the week.
You have got to grit your teeth and get in there and stand and basically what Rangers fans want to hear, just tell them the truth. Don't sugarcoat it with your nonsense.
I hope that no one in Turkey showed that Jose Mourinho the quotes from Philippe Clement to say that he didn't like Mourinho's style of play. At the time I thought Jose Mourinho was entitled to say, excuse me, are you the man who lost to Queen's Park in the Cup?
I don't think Jose Mourinho would even acknowledge that. Somebody who has success, don't think so.
But it's, as Ross said, it's symptomatic of don't let him near a microphone.
See, to be fair, he's got a free pass to come out and say whatever he wants, because nothing's going to happen to him. If it's not happened yet, it ain't happening now.
No, but today is a further dent in the club's credibility, in his credibility, if he has any at all. But today Celtic have lost and got away with it. Completely got away with it.
But you're giving, once again, I'll go back to individuals. We're giving individuals all the stick in the world. You're giving the manager stick, clearly so. Surely nobody will tell me that Rangers can't afford to sack their manager, right? They would find money somewhere. If Rangers go and they get beaten in Europe and they lose their next 3 games, are you telling me that the board are going to sit and go, we can't afford to sack him, right? They would find money somewhere to sack this guy. Now, I don't blame him, because see, at the end of the day, see if somebody puts you in that position and paying you the money that Hugh said, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but Hugh seems to have that in good faith, then you're going to sit there and you're going to do your job until somebody tells you you're no longer in charge of that job, and that's a responsibility from above.
Remember, we will have the open line from 5 o'clock. I think it will be a lively one tonight, so those lines will open just after full time in all these matches. I think it will be a very, very hectic hour, so make sure to get your calls in. But we do need to you know what, Hugh, I think we should probably wrap up this second half teaser in case there is any late drama.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Lee Miller, Ryan Stevenson and Lawrence Shanklin. I have been managed by Neil Critchley and Jack Ross. I've won an English League One title and promotion to the Scottish Premiership. I am Ryan Hardy.
Ryan Hardy. Either of you get close to
I
that?
thought that's who it was.
No chance.
I did.
Absolutely no chance.
I did, but I get caught up in the moment with the Rangers situation.
Are we having that, Hugh?
I look at his face and
Thank you, Hugh.
I see an out and out liar, but
I thought you were going to say you just don't see much movement from his
worry,
face.
There's many went before you seen the same facial expression.
Well done to Dylan Patton, third on the podium. Conor McNair is second, but it is the Crazy Pony who comes out on top in the second half teaser. Right, where are we likely to get any late drama, if any, in the Scottish Premiership? Because Aberdeen Kilmarnock goalless there. Dundee United with a 1-0 lead over Michael Vimmer's Motherwell. Rangers 2-0 down to St Mirren at Ibrox. Ross County comfortable 3-1 up against Dundee, entering into injury time very soon.
No drama in Dingwall. I suspect that Aberdeen and Kilmarnock will peter out into
Aberdeen
a
are piling
draw.
on the pressure, according to Dave Galloway.
Yeah. Dundee United, that's where for me that's where the possibility lies at Tannadice. Can Michael Vimmer produce a belated equaliser? But if they go 2 down, I'll be calling for his dismissal.
I can't believe I went for St Mirren Rangers a draw and they're ones that are letting me down. how does that work? Come on. If I'd have said fancy St Mirren, I would have been thrown out of here. But I went for a draw. I sat on the fence, and they're the only team that's letting me down.
Do you think if Rangers get a first goal here before maybe 90 minutes, and then they get 6 or 7, they'll get a chance to get an equaliser? I think. Obviously, they need to get the first one first, but
there'll be nobody there to see it because they've all walked out.
Motherwell are upping the pressure at Tannadice. They're trying their best to get their first goal and first point of the Michael Vimmer era.
Well, interesting, but I mean, Motherwell, I take it, have got a midweek game. It will be at Fir Park.
Yeah, all teams are in midweek action. Motherwell are playing against, if these fixtures will load for me, which they have now, they are at home to Dundee on Wednesday.
I'll go to that one.
Well, I mean, Tony Dock can't buy a result for Dundee, so Motherwell would appear to have the upper hand in that one. But we shall wait and see. He needs it. If he loses the first one, okay, as Ross said before the game started, he's had no time to get his messages across. But the optics would be that he needs the home win against a Dundee team who are dropping like a stone.
And I don't know where the confidence has come from, because Motherwell are certainly not setting the heather on fire, are they? They're dropping like the stone behind them. Be 2 stones against each other.
Michael Vimmer saying, I think it was more talking about the implementation of his style, but saying it's more of a marathon than a sprint. But certainly as a sprint when it comes to the end of this season and keeping your team in the division.
Yeah, that really is the case. The Dazzler said it earlier on, worried for his hometown team. Dundee fans should be worried. St Johnstone fans should be very worried. So Ross County will not go into the top 6 because St Mirren will be on 34 points and they'll be 2 points in front of Ross County. But for Motherwell and Dundee and St Johnstone, it's becoming a worry.
I think it'll be Motherwell or Dundee in the playoffs.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Do you know that? I think Kilmarnock will have enough at home.
A sitter from Jordan McGee trying to get Dundee a goal back against Ross County. They have 4 minutes added there, but they are 2 goals behind, so that is looking unlikely. Header from close range.
Well,
I think it would be too late. I think Ross County have got that in the bag.
Marley Watkins did test Dimitar Mitov with a shot on the
Jamaican
break.
Was it a Jamaican or a Welsh?
Marley Watkins.
Was it the Jamaican version or a Welsh version?
Full time between Partick Thistle and Airdrie. It is a draw for Mark Wilson and Brian Graham in their first match in interim charge at home to the team bottom of the table.
Yeah, good start playing bottom of the table, 1-1-0 at half time. Mark apparently done the team talk, tactical changes, phoned David Friel. Friel told him to go to a diamond. What happens? 1-1. It certainly was a diamond.
Roger Hanna told him to go for a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly, in the red zone. Keep out the red zone, Mark. Good start. Look, it's been obviously up and downs for Partick with their manager losing and new guys coming in and trying to organise. So it's not a bad start.
The way I would look at it, Morton didn't get a win last night, and Thistle at least get a draw to further the gap between Thistle and Morton, and you move on. But I'm really interested in what Roger has to say after the game at Ibrox, simply in terms of the atmosphere. How many people were left, and did they only stay to protest? Because it is a truly shocking, humbling result, and an absolutely wonderful result for Stephen Robinson and St Mirren.
Yeah, 3 years on the job, Stephen Robinson. I think it's maybe 3 years to the day that he's in that job at St Mirren. What a job he has done, of course, getting St Mirren into Europe this season. Oh, we do have some late drama.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0, and it's Daba, point blank range, high into the net, couldn't miss, and it's going to be, you'd suspect, all 3 points for Jimmy Tillene's men for the second weekend running after months of being unable to buy a win.
Absolute sickener for Derek McInnes. Again, not been able to see the match, but Aberdeen have already had a goal chalked off by VAR. For Jimmy Tillene, terrific. Now goes to Celtic Park. He can go there reasonably comfortable, having a home win.
VAR check.
No, I was just about to say 9 minutes added at Ibrox.
Nine.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
We do have a full time though, so there will be quite a bit of time between this one and when it finishes at Ibrox. That's at the Global Energy Stadium. David Friel.
Full time, Andrew. Ross County 3, Dundee 1. Huge 3 points for County, who at the moment have moved up to 7th in the table after their first home win in 4 months. Never mind relegation. The Staggies fans are now dreaming of a top 6 finish after moving 11 points clear of St Johnstone and 5 ahead of Dundee. But it's more misery for Tony Docherty's Dundee side, who once again struggled defensively and remain in deep trouble in that playoffs place. All started so well for him. Simon Murray's 15th goal of the season had given Dundee a perfect start. A sublime Cullen finish after just 4 minutes, but County bounced back to level in 18 minutes through Kieran Phillips' close range strike after a Casper Lapata header across goal, and then Don Cowie signing it into overdrive after the break with 2 goals in 4 minutes at the start of the second half. Ronan Hale missed a sitter from 6 yards from the resultant corner. Akil Wright produced a stunning acrobatic finish to put County ahead. What a goal it was. And then in 49 minutes it was 3-1. Really slick County break saw Kieran Phillips break free down the right channel, and he unselfishly squared for Noah Chilvers, who calmly found the bottom corner. Indeed did have chances through Simon Murray. Jordan McGee had 2 or 3 headers, one right at the death. It was an absolute sitter, but County were always a threat and they could have added more themselves. They're getting a great reception from their fans just now. Don Cowie just in front of me clapping him. He's a happy man at full time, and Ross County are now looking up instead of down. Full time, Ross County 3, Dundee 1.
Last gasp drama in the Championship as well. Ayr United 1, Livingston 2. Robbie Muirhead scoring in the 96th minute, and that goal would see Livingston leapfrog Ayr into second place.
Can't see Bruni taking that philosophically, but Davy Martindale and Livy, they hang in, they bite and they scratch, and they get there in the end.
I think a lot of people had maybe tipped them for a double relegation the way that Hamilton went, and certainly not looking, well, it's certainly not going to happen, and there's a chance potentially that they could find themselves back in the Premiership very quickly.
I remember speaking to Davy after they'd been relegated, and he said, I will not go away, I want to take them back up again. And I admired him right away for that mindset, and he's hanging in. I mean, Falkirk, for me, look far and away the best football team in the division, and the signing of Arfield has been a clever one, inspirational, but Davy Martindale doesn't go away.
I think we are 7 minutes added at Pittodrie, so may not be the end of the action there, but we do have a full time at Tannadice. Fraser Wishart.
We do. Finished Dundee United 1, Motherwell 0. A big result for United. Stopped their run without a win. Probably just deserved. Sam Dalby, who else with the decisive goal in the first half. I think Motherwell might feel as if they deserved a point They certainly United hemmed in their box or spells in the second half, but didn't really test Jack Walton enough. Now their keeper troubled in the 51 minutes when the clock, when Dalby scored the opener. Ryan Strain, a lovely cross to the right hand side, a brilliant header by Dalby, out jumped Liam Gordon from 8 yards, powered the ball into the top corner of the net. Closest for Motherwell, Maswanisi 25 yards, inches wide, with Jack Walton scrambling, shooting down the slope in the second half. United on top at the start of the 45 minutes. Lucas Stevenson was very bright on as a substitute, set up Campbell couldn't quite get the purchase on his shot, comfortable save for Balcom, then Stevenson shot over from 18 yards, wildly effort because he should have at least hit the target. But United momentum began to stall. Motherwell with a decent spell, a number of dangerous balls into the box, still didn't test Walton, but United hemmed into their own box, couldn't get out. Motherwell fans finally with something to cheer about. Maswanisi again tried his luck from distance. His curling shot was tipped wide by Walton at full stretch. But at the other end, the key moment of the game, Ellery Balcom, what a save he made, a magnificent save from the goalkeeper that kept Motherwell in the game at that point from a Dalby header. It was looping over him right into the top corner. He didn't just get a finger to it, he managed to push the ball over the bar. Motherwell picked up the pace again though towards the end. A low Casey shot saved on his line by Walton, and then Walton fumbled a free kick. He beat a shot towards goal. It was cleared off the line by Ross Graham. Jim Gould will be delighted, not his best performance, but they're back up to 4th above Hibs. For Motherwell now 6 defeats in a row. They drop to 9th. It could be 10th tomorrow if Hearts don't lose. But Michael Bimmer might just think there's a few positive signs in the second half, but they need a win very, very quickly. Full time at Tannadice, Dundee United 1, Motherwell 0.
By my estimations, we probably have a couple of minutes left to go at Ibrox. 9 minutes were added there. St Mirren, of course, 2-0 up against Rangers. That 7 minutes that were added at Pittodrie was actually a few minutes before I said it happened, so we are probably pretty close to that game coming to an end. But that would be a huge win for Jimmy Tilleen and his players and the Aberdeen supporters after the spell that they've been on for the last few months. If they can make it back-to-back league wins, can they rediscover some of the form that saw them start the campaign so well? Certainly we know what the main topics are going to be on the open line, and we will get your calls in just after 5 o'clock.
The Celtic topic, people love these rows. Was it in, was it out, that blah blah blah. But the Celtic situation has been diluted by Rangers, because Celtic are still 13 points clear at the top of the league. No damage has been done on a day when Rangers were at home to St Mirren. So the Celtic situation, yeah, people love that kind of row, but it's been diluted because of an utterly appalling Rangers performance and result.
Full time at Pittodrie, Dave Galloway.
Full time, Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0. A fast start in what was a really unspectacular first half, it has to be said. For Kilmarnock, Polworth and Donnelly had shots from outside the box, easily saved. Odaba then burst forward but shot tamely at Mitov, who pulled off a very good stop to turn Lyons' powerful drive round the post. Aberdeen with some good play, but really not troubling a well organised visiting defence. But plenty drama as half time approached. On 38 minutes, Kelly got a penalty for Knooster's tackle on Donnelly. That was overturned after Matthew McDermott checked the VAR screen. And 2 minutes after that, Ockles curled home a lovely low shot after Gay won the ball, but the ref, on advice from the VAR room, chalked the goal off for offside. Aberdeen with the first threat of the second half. Keskinen shot from a very tight angle after Gay's nice through ball, blocked well by O'Hara at his near post. Plenty efforts on display from both sides, but a real lack of quality. The home side stepped up the pressure. Nielsen fed Nisbet, whose low drive hit the post with O'Hara beaten. Then at the other end, Watkins on the break tested Mitov with a shot from wide on the left hand side. It looked pretty certain to end goalless, but then in the 91st minute, Dabag pounced from point blank range to shoot high into net following Clarkson's corner on the far side. The Palestinian striker certainly making his mark. Kelly piled forward to try and get a late equaliser, but the Dons stood firm. It finished at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Almost another goal at Ibrox and almost another goal for St Mirren. It was a Marcus Fraser header from an Oisin Smith corner just over the bar. It is not getting any better for Rangers and the supporters that are left in the stadium. I don't think there are too many of them. Roger Hanna will give us the full picture in a few moments' time. I think we must be approaching the full-time whistle there any second now. Remember, the open line, we want to hear from you. It is just after full time in this game. 0141 951 1025. Line up your calls. We want to hear from you. I suspect it will be very, very busy. Rangers are about to lose at home 2-0 to St Mirren. Earlier on in the day it was Hibs 2, Celtic 1. Brendan Rodgers pretty strong on that decision to rule out a late Dalziel Maeda goal. The ball being shown to be over the line by VAR. And anything else on your mind, Motherwell fans? Maybe you've got some thoughts on your new manager and what you saw from him, but I think tonight's calls will be dominated by what happened at Ibrox and what happened at Easter Road.
But mainly what happened at Ibrox, because Celtic are laughing. Celtic are still 13 clear. They lost, but no harm done. And they come back to Glasgow to find the streets full of Rangers.
I'll stop you there because it is full time at Ibrox.
It is full time at Ibrox. Andrew, Rangers 0, St Mirren 2. What an anniversary for Stephen Robinson. 3 years as St Mirren boss today. Now back-to-back wins over Rangers. The Boxing Day triumph at Paisley, and now this deserved victory at Ibrox with second half goals from Michael Mandron and Toyosi.
Take my money. Let the ceremony of succulence commence. The KFC Kentucky Original Wrap for $2.49. Visualize the wrap. Order the wrap. Eat the wrap. Get the deal? Believe in chicken.
KFC. Until 16th of March, subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Not available on delivery. See website for full T's and C's.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no obligation quotation.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Well, who would have predicted this? A day in Scottish football with Celtic and Rangers both losing 2-1 to Hibs in the early kick-off at Easter Road. 2 goals from Josh Campbell put the home side ahead. Dalziel Maeda pulled one back. An incident towards the end Brendan Rodgers not too happy about, though. He's saying that the officials guessed that the ball was fully over the line when Alistair Johnson cut it back for Dalziel Maeda to score a potential equaliser. VAR ruling it out, claiming they have conclusive evidence that goal should not stand. Aberdeen 1-0 winners over Kilmarnock. Dundee United 1-0 winners over Motherwell. Ross County 3, Dundee 1. But I think a lot of the reaction we will hear on the open line 0141 951 1025 will come from Ibrox. Rangers 0, St Mirren 2. Rangers first game back after that defeat to Queen's Park at Ibrox. Their first game back at home, I should say, and it's another defeat, Hugh.
Absolutely overtaken everything else that happened today, including the Alistair Johnson incident at Easter Road. This is Rangers at rock bottom now. Rangers supporters, as Roger said, there was hardly anybody. Those who stayed to the end only stayed, and we could hear the booing, and it was quite incredible. But they are at ground zero now. They've been taken over by, or about to be taken over by, Americans, and it coincides with hitting ground zero. 2 results back to back at Ibrox of a historically unprecedented nature. Out of the Scottish Cup to a team from a lower league for the first time in the club's history, followed up by a result in the Premiership that will go down in infamy. Absolute bottom of the pile.
Well, let's waste no time. Let's get straight to the phones. 0141 951 1025. Up first is Craig, who is a Rangers fan in Moodiesburn. Craig, how are you feeling?
I think that just sums up how I'm feeling. I'm not surprised. Probably the reason I got on first is I said to the producer, I actually took my missus shopping today and just absolutely patched the game. I mean, it says something that I'd rather take my wife shoe shopping than go and watch Rangers. I text my mate at the end of the game. Sorry, actually on that, I've got a season ticket and I try to put it up on the seat sub thing that Rangers do. Nobody took it. I think that says quite a lot as well. This team, I genuinely have got to the point I don't like them. I don't like them as players. I don't like their attitude. I don't like seen their faces. I just don't like them. Philip Clement, I think he lives in a parallel universe. You know, to come out and slag Jose Mourinho, I mean, that is the kind of stuff that just shows you how far gone this guy is. But my main kind of point is I'm not going to be back at Ibrox this season, not for the Celtic game, not for the Fenerbahce game. I'm not doing it anymore. And just on what Hugh said, because I was driving home and I heard the end of it, and when I heard St scored the second, I just laughed. And this is a group of players that started doing the bounce, if you want to call it that, beating St Johnstone in September in a cup game. That's the mentality of these guys. Oh, we beat St Johnstone through next round of the Scottish Cup or the League Cup, whatever it was. That sent alarm bells for me at the time, and I think it did for a lot of fans, and a lot of fans wanted him going after Kilmarnock. And I remember I spoke to Hugh the night he were on a wee bit late against Aberdeen. I was like, the guy needs to go. And then there was a wee upturn in results, you know, and put a few goals past, you know, Ross County and whoever else, but that was Ross County. And obviously the Celtic game's a complete anomaly, if that's how you say it. But we're probably going to go and get beat against Kilmarnock in midweek, and then we'll just limp along. But the way this team is, they'll probably get a result, or they'll go narrowly out against Fenerbahce, and they'll probably lose by a goal or something against Celtic in March as well. And they'll, it's progress again, and all that kind of nonsense. I just long for the summer. That's as I say, I'm completely done until the summer, and I'm not a person to listen to everything and give advice, but I would implore a lot of Rangers fans: the club's got your money. What's the point in putting yourself through that, going to the games? I'm not saying take your wife shoe shopping on a Saturday afternoon, because that's absolutely brain damage, but do something else, because the club's got your money, they don't care. And for me, I'm not putting myself through that torture anymore to the end of the season.
It's a matter of personal choice, Craig. If you choose not to go, that's your prerogative. As you say, you spent the money, you've given up the money now, so it's the prerogative of every other Rangers supporter to decide whether they want to do that as well. What we do know now is that the takeover must go through, because those in charge of Rangers at the moment are unfit for purpose. The players are unfit for purpose. The club is at the bottom of the pile, and the takeover must go through to safeguard Rangers' immediate future. And once the takeover has gone through, we'll see how it works, how much money is made available for players, etc, etc, etc. But Rangers, as it stands right now, is a failed business, and they now need the takeover to start again.
It's funny because, right a few weeks ago, certain Rangers supporters were booed for standing up and leaving Ibrox at a certain time. And Craig's come on this phone in, and I really feel for him, because he's paid his money. He wants to go and support his team, but he wants a team to be proud of. Look, I've said it before, how this manager is still in office is beyond me, and I will not buy we can't afford to sack. I will not buy that.
Is
nonsense.
this week even more complicated by the fact that Rangers CEO Patrick Stewart came out and publicly backed Philippe Clement?
Do you know something? He's got to be very, very careful. I know he's just in the building. I know he doesn't want to make knee-jerk reactions. I know there's other things going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. I totally understand that. But if you put all your eggs in your one basket and you might find yourself in trouble very early, because every Rangers fan knows you've got guys that have been to Ibrox for years upon years, had season tickets, sat in the same seats, totally switched off from this. I totally agree. I said a long time ago that I thought Rangers were a bore fest. I could never imagine going and watching them, right? Then they took this little bit of a spark, and in Europe they've been good, and they've got to the last 16, they've got a good tie, whatever. But you get beat with Queen's Park. I said it today at 3 o'clock, right? I should have been brave enough to go with a fancy St Mirren, because they've no courage. So I went with the draw. I sat on the fence, And I really meant that. I didn't see Rangers coming out. And Hugh was right. Hugh bummed it up to say, well, you've just got the best incentive in the world. Celtic have just lost. You've got a chance to go 10 points. Gives you a wee injection. You're against St Mirren. Show the Rangers fans what happened against Queen's Park at home in the Scottish Cup was a blip. It was just something that, strangely happened. There's no character, there's no fight, there's nothing for the manager. I can't wait to see what he comes out with. I really can't wait to see his post-match interview. He's got to be upfront and honest with these supporters, because let me tell you something right now. The place was empty. See, in the next few weeks, Ibrox will start getting emptier and emptier and emptier. And I'm talking at 3 o'clock. I'm not talking 15-20 minutes to go.
Craig, is that the best you can really hope for, is essentially just sit it out until the summer and hope that there are going to be big changes? Do you not feel there will be any changes between now and the end of the season, whether that is in terms of personnel, performances, anything like that?
Oh no. Well, as I say, I mean, there will be. They'll turn it on like a tap against Fenerbahce. They'll empty the tank against them, and I mean, as I say, I wouldn't rule out getting even a draw. I know probably people laugh at that, but you wouldn't say this Rangers team would surprise anybody and go and get a draw at Parkhead. But my other point is, I was trying to go on during the week, just a very quick one. People were shouting about Barry Ferguson. Now, Barry Ferguson as a player was one of the best this country's ever produced, and he was fantastic. But I think what people forget, he also captained Rangers to finish in third in the table. And he failed at Clyde, he failed at Alloa, and by all accounts he's actually employed by the club at something. I think it's a kind of ambassador role. He's not the answer. Kevin Thompson's not the answer. Unfortunately, and I've said this, Hugh probably be sick of me saying this, we've not got a Walter Smith figure anymore. But yeah, for me, as I say, I'm completely, I don't know if disengaged is the right word or whatever, but I'm done. As I say, I've held my season ticket since I was about 9 years old. I've stuck through all the nonsense and the Paul Le Guen and the Kashinya and the divisions and this, that and the other. And my missus said to me, why do you keep going? Why do you keep putting yourself through this? I was like, it'll change, But today, it's done. And it's, for me, as I say, what I can't forgive about these players is they've got some level of quality to turn it on Europa League, and that today, that against Queen's. But any Rangers manager in modern history, if you lose against Queen's Park at home, you're gone. But to then bounce back and not score against St Mirren, and I just, words fail me, honestly. But
all of the talk of former Rangers players who should now become the manager, forget it, because that club is finished. Rangers will now be taken over by an American conglomerate, and they will bring their expertise to the job. The old ways are gone. Never mind which former Rangers player was your favourite Rangers player. All of that's finished. The club in its current form is finished. It now requires the takeover and the restructuring and the rebuilding of the football team. But forget all that stuff, because the world is about to move on.
Well, thank you to Craig. I hope his wife wasn't listening to the last few minutes of the show. Robert is a Rangers fan up next in Stirling. Do you agree with a lot of that, Robert?
Yeah, pretty much. I agree with pretty much what the last couple of callers have had to say. My biggest point is, however much I think Clement has to go, I think he served his purpose now. He has been dealt a bad hand, but a lot of this has to go into the players. I see everybody coming on every week on SuperScoreBoard having a rant about Clement this, Clement that, the board this, the board that. At the end of the day, it's the players on the park. Now today, I'm travelling back with my two kids in the car. We spend thousands every year going to Ibrox, and today, like a few other games, the players are just not up for the task. I mean, Hadji, however much I want Hadji back in the team, Hadji and Diomande are like an empty man today, like an empty shirt. The two of them, all they want to do is pass the ball back. Diomande was just running like a headless chicken. It's just not good enough. Again, however much the fans boo, however much the fans have a go at Clement, it's the players on the park. Now, all these players should be better than for example, St Mirren, no offence to St Mirren, they were good today, but they should be better as a man-to-man against their players. They were rotten. They're absolutely rotten. Now again, I'm going to say it, throw Clement. They've thrown Clement right under the bus. His style of play is shocking, but at the end of the day, they had enough on that part to win today.
It's a combination, though.
There needs to be a shared responsibility.
Yeah, it's a combination of the manager, who is clearly no good, certainly not for Rangers, and players who are no good for Rangers. And when this season ends and the takeover comes, Clement will go. The players who are clearly inferior will go, and only a nucleus will be left. Rangers today proves it's all over, and it's only a case of the takeover going through, and whoever is then placed in charge of the football team will then go about the business of signing players, getting others out the door. But today's result and performance, on top of the Queen's Park result and performance, both at Ibrox, proves that this chapter in Rangers history is at an end.
There are a lot of players that, I mean, what do you make of that? Those points generally, Ross?
Listen, I think Robert he's not far away from being on the money. I know it's the manager that puts the team out on the pitch, but at the end of the day, the desire and the will to win has got to come from you, inside you only. It can't be up to the manager to get these players up for a game of football. They've shown fine well against Celtic, against teams in Europe, that they can go and do it. So to not be able to do it when they're actually expected to do it it's just bizarre to me. Now, going back to the one about the ex-Rangers players being the manager of the club, now, I'm not for that at all, but I tell you what they do need. They do need someone like a Barry Ferguson round about not as a manager, I'm not saying that, but round about the first team, to get a hold of these guys and try and get it into their head exactly what it means to be at Rangers. You can't turn it on or turn it off.
You've got one of the most staunch Rangers supporters ever in the dressing room, his backroom staff, Alec Ray. So you're not telling me Alec's not doing what Barry would do, right? I think he will be. I think Alec loves the club that much. He'll be into players, he'll be telling them everything, responsibilities, what it means to the supporters sitting out there watching it. I'm not into that. I don't think the modern day player now sits and thinks, okay, there's maybe Barry Ferguson, tell me what this club means, right? You're either got the desire to go and play for a club or you haven't. You don't need it coming from somebody like Barry or Ali or Matt Haitley or John Brown or whatever. Great Rangers men, loved the club, right? It's different now. The football's different for me. I think you're right, I think players have got to take a responsibility, but they're not individually there's not one individual there can take the game by the scruff of the neck. If Rangers do well, it's usually as a team collectively. When they're off it, and they were off it today, and all credit to St Mirren because that gets hidden away, St Mirren were excellent, then they're not good enough to go and dominate football games.
Well, thank you to Robert. 01419511025 if you've got anything to add to that. Maybe you're a Celtic fan that have some opinions on that game, any of the incidents in the game against Hibs. 01419511025.
Take my money. Let the ceremony of succulence commence. The KFC Kentucky Original Wrap for $2.49. Visualize the wrap. Order the wrap. Eat the wrap. Get the deal? Believe in chicken.
KFC. Until 16th of March, subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Not available on delivery. See website for full T's and C's.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Yes, we are in for a busy next, half an hour or so on the phone lines, because Celtic and Rangers both on the end of losing scorelines today in the Scottish Premiership. We had plenty of angry Rangers supporters just on the phone there talking about that 2-0 defeat to St Mirren after everything that has gone on of late. Another one for Rangers fans to be upset about. Celtic 2-1 defeat to Hibs. A lot of that, I think a lot of the talk will be about the decision to disallow a goal late on in that game. Let's just hear once again what Brendan Rodgers had to say on that one.
Well, I'm hoping to see conclusive evidence that it was out. The linesman on this side, he had his flag up quite a lot, but for the goal he clearly was probably one of the best views in the ground, and he kept his flag down, which tells me that he felt it was in. Not all of the ball goes out. So if it's the case, then you got to go and review it with VAR. But then you're taking an angle from the 18-yard line. If you're taking the angle from the 18-yard line, and you can tell me that you can absolutely see 100%, then you're having a guess. And these are big games to be guessing, especially at this point of the season. So we were disappointed with that, and that's what killed our momentum a little bit. But yeah, I felt it was very harsh on the team. No, he was. He just said afterwards it was a VAR decision that it was factually out, which will be interesting from the 18-yard line. But if we don't have the actual images, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want to be overly critical until someone produces an actual piece of evidence that tells us the ball was conclusively out.
Brian is a Celtic fan. Up next, Brian, what did you take away from today's game?
Quite a few things, actually. First half, we weren't at the races. Hibs wanted it more. So we went in 2-0 down. Now, we come to the one instant that people are talking about. And, like Hugh said earlier on, Celtic fans would be happy at Rangers' result. We weren't happy. We weren't happy at all because Celtic want 3 points every single game. If you look at the evidence on what would have been an equaliser, and I would have said with the momentum that was going in the game, Hibs deserved the first half by a distance. They wanted it more. Celtic had a Euro-leggy feeling, and people, Adamida, who should do better, he's coming in on the back of somebody else being in his position. He should be a much better player if he's getting his chance in the league to go forward and be the striker that Celtic need him to be. He failed. Wee Taylor, I love the wee guy. He's a great addition, but again, he just does the same thing. Midfield, Luke McCown went missing first half. So Rodgers done the right thing and changed it. It gave us a chance that cross, and I was right underneath. I swear it was right there, and it was on the line. There is no way in the world that ball completely was over the line, and the goal should have stood.
This is where we need to be careful, Brian, because I don't think anyone from the naked eye watching it on TV can conclusively say from watching the TV pictures at home that it was definitely over the line or definitely not over the line. I don't think there really is anyway, and I've seen people sending us photos saying, look, taking a picture of their TV saying, look, it was definitely over the line or it was definitely not over the line based on what way they want the argument to go. The people in Clydesdale House looking at it on VAR will have looked at every single angle. They will have been able to zoom in. Those will have been angles that we won't have seen on TV, because normally, when you watch a game on TV, and quite often it will come up with the split screen and it will show you exactly what the referee is seeing at the screen. We didn't see that because the referee doesn't go to the screen
at that
point, because it's a black and white situation. So Alan Muir and the assistant VAR will feel that they have that conclusive evidence, but we have yet to see it because you don't get that sort of split screen view on the TV, because it's not one where the referee goes over to the screen. Do you get me?
Brian, were you Easter Road?
At best, he's guessing, and the on-field decision.
The thing is, Brian, that the referees can't guess in that scenario. And Brendan Rodgers has said that he feels maybe it was a guess, but then went on to say at the end he won't be overly critical because, of course, he wants to see the evidence. But it's not really how VAR works. It's a black and white decision. To overturn it, the assistant VAR will have had to sit there and make sure they have conclusive evidence on that.
Brian, can I ask you, when you said earlier on your verdict on it, were you at Easter Road? Brian?
Yes, I was at Easter Road, Hugh, yes.
So, it's your naked eye against somebody else's naked eye. Can I ask you, do you believe, and I asked this question in all seriousness, Brian,
yeah,
do you believe it was done deliberately, or do you believe it was human error?
I believe this, Hugh, that the only person on our official that had the line of sight did not give it out of the pitch. That was the linesman who's looking along the line, and then you have a various, again, opinions, and human error comes into. You're absolutely right.
But surely human error comes into it with that linesman who is on that side, Brian, because I'm sure there will have been plenty times during plenty games where you will have been unhappy that assistant referees will have put their flag up at various scenarios. So human error can work for officials on the pitch, and it can work for VAR. The difference is that the assistant referee on the pitch only gets one split second look at it, where Alistair Johnson has his leg and foot wrapped around the ball, shielding essentially the view he would have of where it is, whereas Alan Muir, the VAR, has access to all the TV angles. He can zoom in, he can have a look at it,
and yet it's inconclusive. So the on-field decision,
but that's you saying it's inconclusive, Brian, whereas Alan Muir will feel, given the fact he's overturned it, will feel he has conclusive evidence.
Oh, well, he's yet to show it, and no angle can prove it. So they don't have.
This is the thing, Brian, that Alan Muir will feel he does have the evidence to prove it. Just because it isn't out there yet doesn't mean it isn't there, if you get me.
But yes, listen, can I finish? The only line of sight that's true, whether it's Alan Muir in a studio in Glasgow, the only line of sight is true is on-field linesman. The referee has been as two-tier refereeing this whole VAR system. Now, I have to accept, we all have to accept it's here, but we do not have to accept when it is marginal that you go against the on-field player, the on-field referee. I apologise. So the on-field referee said goal, the on-field linesman said goal, and then a guy who's looking at an obscure, as many times as I've looked at it, as many times you guys have looked at it, there's nobody can say yes or no. So why did they say no?
Well, it's like the game at Ibrox where Igaman is initially sent off by Kevin Clancy. Kevin Clancy is then invited by VAR to go to the screen, and Kevin Clancy overrules Kevin Clancy. This is what VAR is all about, and I'm afraid we go round and round in circles, and the only positive to come out of this is that what happened to Alistair Johnson, Brendan Rodgers, Celtic and all the fans, Brian included, is that their poor performance and what Brian claims is a poor decision have cost them nothing because Rangers lost.
I'll pick Brian up in his next point where he's got to say if that goal was allowed, that Celtic would have had momentum and go and win it. Let me be honest here, and I think if you're a Celtic fan, you're looking at that. Yes, of course that can happen. Celtic didn't deserve to win at Easter Road today, right? They didn't. Now you can talk about momentum after a goal. They get back in the game 2-1. I was expecting Celtic to bar Hibs' door down, knocking at the door, save after save. They didn't really do that. They got in behind with the Johnston thing, the situation. Obviously, we thought it was a goal in here. It's been given ruled offside, ruled out. But I didn't look at that Celtic team today and think, oh, they're just going to up the gears and they're going to go on here with momentum and win it. I don't think Celtic deserved to win it. Get a draw? Yes, fine. You'd have been happy. I think Brendan Rodgers would have walked out Easter Road today delighted if they'd have got 2-2. But I don't think, in evidence of the game, that Celtic deserved to win that game, did.
You do feel that with these decisions you probably will just go round in circles with them, Ross, until there is that evidence, because people, we'll see it on Twitter, will just kind of tweet and send us photos either way based on what way they kind of want the decision to go. Essentially, the evidence we expect will need to come out at some point.
It will have to come out, and you're spot on that it will go round in circles, because I don't see any difference from what Brendan Rodgers said after the game. He said if the on-field referee is looking at it from somewhere around about the 18-yard line, as opposed to Brian, who I assume was sitting behind the goal, he thought it was on the line, then there's not much difference in view. It's just ones at either side. I believe that it's got to come out. Do I think it will come out? I'm not sure. because I'm
the Scottish FA have been quite big on transparency this season, though, and Willie Collum has tried to introduce that. They've got the VAR review show that you'd expect that will come out and be discussed about. It's a big thing that Willie Collum's tried to introduce.
I would like to know what view that they've seen that shows that it is conclusive.
That is the big thing, because as I have said about the angles we have seen on TV, VAR have access to all the angles of all the cameras in the stadium. What Premier Sports have chosen to show are not necessarily all the angles that are available, and VAR will be able to stop those, zoom them in, and that is all the ones that essentially Alan Muir will have used to come to his decision.
Brendan Rodgers has left himself wriggle room by saying he doesn't want to be too critical, although he has been fairly critical, but he doesn't want to be too critical until he sees the conclusive evidence. Therefore, there is an obligation to let the evidence be shown to the public at large. Brendan Rodgers as an individual, and we'll take it from there. But it's the classic VAR storm.
Well, thank you to Brian. I hope we'll get the chance to hear from Philippe Clement before the end of the show. Just depends how late he goes into his post-match press conference. But if we do get the chance to hear from him, you will hear it next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Into the final part of today's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. What a day it has been. The action kicked off with a 2-1 win for Hibs over Celtic at Easter Road, then a 2-0 defeat for Rangers at Ibrox against St Mirren. There was also wins for Aberdeen, Dundee United and Ross County. We can hear from Philippe Clement after that defeat at Ibrox.
It's terribly disappointing. We were so nervous today, on the ball, in the duels, in everything. I don't know where it's coming from. That's my frustration also. It's my responsibility also to put the team with the right mindset on the pitch. I didn't see this one coming, this nervousness. And we were below par almost all game. A few better spells during the game, but by far not what Rangers should be today.
Nervousness, Philippe Clement's putting it down to.
Yeah, I'm struggling to get that one in my head. Right, maybe he's talking about the reaction after the last home game against Queen's Park, but they've went to Tynecastle last week. They've got 3 points. They've seen Celtic drop points at Easter Road earlier in the day. Surely it's more of getting out there with confidence. He going and saying, right, we've got a great opportunity here. We're playing St Mirren. Let's get at them. We're at home. Get this crowd behind us. And all of a sudden, I don't understand why a Rangers player going out there this afternoon, especially with Celtic losing and everything that's went before it, nervousness, I don't get that. I really can't grasp it.
He says, I don't know where it's coming from. I did not see it coming. Well, if you don't know things and you can't see things, you're not the man the fans are looking for.
Is that where would that nervousness come from?
Just the previous results. It was that one comment that I couldn't get. Didn't see it coming. Dazzler seen it coming. There'll be many other people out there who've seen it coming. I think they've got a little bit of a track record of showing that when the going gets tough, they don't really want to know. So yeah, just bizarre again. Pretty expected from his post-match interview.
Let's hear a bit more, shall we, from Philippe Clement?
Yeah, of course, because and I understand we were by far the worst I've seen in all the time that I've been here. So I understand that fans don't want to see that kind of level. It's about, as a team, to stand up and to show more quality and to find out where this nervousness came from.
By far the worst performance.
I mean, listen,
he must have missed the Queen's Park game.
Yeah, he's a lame duck manager now, trying to think of what can I say this time. You know, it's over. It's finished. The domestic season's finished. The Rangers fans can go to games or not go to games. That's their choice. But the business is finished. They need the takeover, and the whole club needs the regime change.
The only thing about, to be fair to him, and could cut him a bit slack, he has for once come out and basically put his hand up and said, look, it's not good enough. He knows it's not good enough,
but he doesn't know why it's not good enough.
Someone told him to say that.
I know, but he's stuck on this nervousness. It's the worst I've seen. No, well, I'm sorry. Go back to a couple of weeks ago, and you've obviously wiped the Queen's Park game from your memory. So Rangers fans are not buying this manager. They're not buying him. I agree with you. I think when they get to the summer, me personally, I find it a weakness at Rangers, and I don't buy into it. I've said it all day. You can afford to sack him, right? You need to, whether that's a case of they want to wait to see what happens in the summer with a takeover, I don't know, but fans will stay away in their droves.
But they can't take decisions now. Those who are in charge at the moment can't take decisions, because the decisions they take might not be to the liking of the 49ers group who are about to take over the club. Now, come on, we'll go out. I mean, anybody can see that coming. But the lame duck manager is being looked after by a lame duck board.
How can they not take a decision?
Because new owners come in.
No. The decision would be quite easy. You brought in a guy and you've stuck him in a 3-year contract. You can relieve the manager his job and put that guy in charge, or whatever it may be, Hugh, at the end of the season. And Rangers fans will go along with it. We've seen it with Graham Murty and stuff like that, interim manager, until you can't just keep going. And you called him a lame duck there. You can't just keep going week to week and say, well, they can't make decisions. That's the problem. They've not made the right decisions for years.
I would imagine the 49ers, looking at taking over the club, would have told the people who are in charge at the minute that they ain't in a position to make big decisions.
Don't touch it.
I would say that's the only reason that he's not been sacked.
Don't touch it until we get there. That's the instruction.
01419511025. John is a Rangers fan. What did you make of that today, John, and just Rangers overall?
Yeah, well, as I say, Hugh Keevins put it spot on. He says Rangers rock bottom. I go back to the Paul Le Guen era and I say, you can't get any worse. It's bad to watch. It's disgusting. My dad actually walked out in 70 minutes. He actually stays to 90 minutes or etc. and heads to the bus. But he'd seen enough today, and it's a bore fest. A pub team could beat Rangers right now on a football field.
At the risk of going on ad infinitum, it's finished. It's over. The board are over. The board are waiting to sell to an American group. The manager's finished, but the American group, who are the prospective owners of the club, will say, right, just let them.
Say hypothetically that is the case, and that is the reason that Philippe Clement is still there.
Yeah.
Can they continue to keep on damaging the short-term success of the club and just keep on eking it out until the summer?
Well, if the instruction from the 49ers group is to leave everything till we get there, and then we'll begin and we'll do things our way, and we will have men in positions that we choose, not you. The board is lame duck because they're simply waiting to get the paperwork done, and the manager will just have to be allowed to go on. There are 11 league games left. He'll just have to be allowed to go on doing what it is he does or doesn't do.
Thank you to John. I think we'll be able to squeeze in one more. Davey is a Rangers fan up next. Davey, what's your take?
Hi, good afternoon. I was at the game today. I left at 75 minutes. I was St Mirren bullied Rangers for the first whistle today. Rangers could not handle the physicality of St Mirren, and it was really, really bad to see. Also, the type of football they're playing is just forward, back. Butland as well today. I don't know what was wrong with him. The amount of times he's kicking out the ball, it was so bad. I mean, he just had nothing. Clement now, these statements he's coming out with is just getting absolutely ridiculous. I mean, how you can go out and be nervous, walking onto that Ibrox pitch, wearing that top and be nervous in front of your home fans against St Mirren is beyond me. if you have got that feeling, you should not be wearing that Rangers top. Honestly, it's just totally beyond how that this happens now. You know, he shouldn't be there, and it's just getting very, very boring. And that's just the way I feel. I usually say it at the last minutes, but today it just had enough. And we've seen it coming. For him to say how we can't see it coming, everybody in Ibrox could see that coming today. That second half was just unacceptable. In fact, for the full first minute, it was unacceptable. They were just not at the races today whatsoever.
Ross, that's been a common theme of a lot of the calls, is Rangers fans either just having enough and leaving early. Craig, our first caller, saying that he didn't even bother going to the game because he just didn't want to go and see Rangers. How long can that continue, that Rangers fans just decide to get turned away because they're not happy with what they're seeing?
How long can it continue? Until the decision is taken that the manager's going to be relieved of his duties and they get a new guy in place that gets something extra out of this team. Now I've got mates back home as well, by the way, who even before the Queen's Park game had decided not to go anymore to Ibrox and stuff. The problem with Rangers is they'll probably go to the Fenerbahce game. I wouldn't be surprised if they go through that. Come to the Celtic game, I wouldn't be surprised if they get a draw or a win there as well, and then all of a sudden people go, oh, there's progress, but they're always going to come back to a result like today and a result against Queen's Park. It's always going to happen with this squad and this manager. Until it changes, nothing's going to change.
What does the rest of the season look like to you, Davey, now?
There isn't a season. Let's be honest. Come on, to me, he should have been away long ago. Because, as I say, some of his comments are just absolutely ridiculous. We just doesn't get it. But, as I say, the only thing we can hope for now that there's nobody for the 49ers sitting in that stand today watching that game, because I wouldn't be putting 5 pence, never mind 5 million, etc. in that club.
Davey makes a very, very salient point. This takeover now has to go through. If anything prevents it from going through, Rangers are stuck with where they are tonight, and where they are tonight is rock bottom, and they need fresh investment, fresh minds, a fresh manager, fresh players. So it has now got to go through. I don't know if that affects the sale price, but it has got to go through, or else.
I disagree with Dave. I think if you're sitting there, a member of 49, you're thinking this is a brilliant time to get this club. It can't get any lower. Fans are walking out in their droves. Fans are not going back. The team is a shambles. The manager's a shambles. You're starting from scratch. And I think that would be a great time if you've got the investment, and we all know the potential that Rangers Football Club have. Then I think it's a brilliant time to go and get Rangers.
Well, thank you to Davey. Remember, we will be back on Monday night, and judging by tonight's phone lines, it will be red hot. Just a word for St Mirren and Hibs, Hugh, because when Celtic and Rangers lose, the winning teams often get overlooked.
Yeah, and the same expression applies to both teams and to Stephen Robinson and David Gray. Hibs deserved to beat Celtic. Celtic were miles away from resembling anything seen in Munich, and St Mirren were outstanding on the 3rd anniversary of the manager joining the club. They fully deserved to win. Well done, Hibs and St Mirren. You will now be ignored for the days ahead while we get into what went wrong with Celtic in Edinburgh and what continues to afflict Rangers at Ibrox.
Well, if you thought last week was busy in Scottish football, Celtic getting knocked out the Champions League in the last minute by Bayern Munich, all this talk about Rangers and takeovers, what a week will be in store next week, because not only will we be back on Monday night from 6 o'clock to get all the reaction to Celtic and Rangers both losing on the same day today, we have a full midweek fixture card as well. Celtic at home to Aberdeen on Tuesday night, and then the rest of the teams all in action on Wednesday. That includes Rangers away to Kilmarnock on that night. But thank you very much to Hugh Keevins, Ross McCormack and Gordon Dalziel in the studio. Thank you to you at home for your calls and your tweets and for getting involved. And of course, as always on a Saturday, it's the GBX up next.
Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Lookers Audi. Book a test drive for the fully electric range today. Head online for details.
Take my money. Let the ceremony of succulence commence. The KFC Kentucky Original Wrap for $2.49. Visualize the wrap. Order the wrap. Eat the wrap. Get the deal. Believe in chicken. KFC.
Until 16th of March, subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Not available on delivery. See website for full T&Cs.
Cappuccino for Kristen.
Oh, sorry, mate. I've forgotten my card.
All right, of course you have. Third time this week, just saying.
I'll get the next ones, promise.
No need.
Oh, thank you.
You can just send me £4.70 with your PayPal app. For your double shot oat milk skinny caramel latte with extra foam.
Oh, don't forget my sprinkles.
Don't just pay. PayPal.
A PayPal account is required to send and receive money.